All right, what's going on, everyone out there? Welcome to the 17th episode of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast. I am your host, Jeremy, aka NES Ruler 22, and welcome back to this week's show. So, we're back to our normal schedule that we always usually do here. We're going to start out with the news with good old JP, hop into the questions that you guys asked us, and the question of the week, which is your top 5 full moon films. Then we're going to hop into, of course, mood swings, what we watched, and then we're going to hop into a discussion on the new chiller film, The Beneath, which just got released by Scream Factory last month, right? Last month. So,
3 weeks ago.
yeah. So go ahead, JP, with the news.
Okay, guys, there's not a whole lot of news this week at all, really. The first little bit of news is actually some kind of negative news, and that is the Scream Factory's release of Dog Soldiers, due to some unforeseen issues on clear ownership rights. They've forced to move the title off to August from its planned August 26th release to early 2015.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I know that makes everybody mad, or everyone that was looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's one of those films that are, it's probably in my top, 3 or 4 favorite werewolf films. So I was looking forward to it, but that's the thing with rights, man. It seems like everything is so damn complex and convoluted and just insane with rights.
Mm-hmm. Everything's about that shit these days.
Yeah, sometimes people don't even realize that they own the rights to stuff. Me and Moodz was talking about that a couple of days ago. So after that, Twilight Zone, the 80s series, is getting a re-release, a complete series re-release on DVD.
Moods, weren't we just talking about that when you were here?
That's so awesome, man, because I actually came across the first season of the 80s series in, I think it was Half Price Books.
Yeah.
I think they wanted like $35 for it, but that's pretty much what it goes for, I think, everywhere. But I was like, I'm not going to pay that.
Yeah.
That's so awesome that they're re-releasing it, because I totally want it. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and this is weird because I didn't even see this posted on any horror news website or anything. I just ended up coming across this on random, internet surfing. So yeah, nobody's really talking about it. But all 3 seasons, 65 episodes. I believe it's going to be released July 1st. I don't know the price on it yet. I actually didn't even look, but they didn't have a price listed.
Who's releasing it?
I actually don't even know.
No.
Probably whoever. I guess it's kind of a re-release, right? I mean, I don't know if the same people would be releasing it or what.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm really stoked for it because I've been wanting.
I guarantee it'll
forever.
be cheaper than they are now.
Oh, big time! And it's going to be a complete series box that you said, right?
Yeah, it's all 3 seasons of the 80s series.
That's so awesome. I'm so stoked. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah. After that, Eli Roth, who's been pretty busy. He's, did the Green Inferno. Now he's working on that Knock Knock movie with Keanu Reeves, which sounds kind of interesting to me. He's putting his producer pants back on, and he's producing a ghost movie, and that is about to begin shooting, I believe, and it's kind of low budget. And yeah, so he's producing a ghost movie.
I'm not sure if I'm fully convinced that I like the title Knock Knock, considering there already is a couple movies with that title.
Is there?
Yeah. I've yet to actually check out either one. I have Knock Knock 1 and 2, but I've just neglected to watch them. But I don't know, man. Me and Mr. Snickers 21 were talking about this one day about the jokes. If this movie fails miserably, can you just hear the jokes like knock knock, who's there? Like, your movie sucked.
I don't even see how it could fail though, man. It has an interesting premise and it's got Eli Roth attached to it. I got a lot of faith in that production actually.
Okay, refresh my memory on the premise. I can't quite remember what it is.
I think what it is this is just off of memory now. There's 2 girls or cousins or sisters or friends or something, and they randomly show up to this guy's house They seduce him and then kind of blackmail him and torture him, and it's like a funny game to them or something. And I guess the guy is Keanu Reeves.
I'm sorry, I cannot take Keanu Reeves seriously in anything.
I got
I like Keanu Reeves,
I
dude.
think he's such a fucking terrible actor, man.
Oh, dude,
He's fucking
so
horrendous.
bad.
He
He
is
really is.
horrendous.
He really is. And I'm not just saying Keanu Reeves is a shitty actor because that's the cool thing to say.
No,
He actually
he's
is
bad.
not. He actually is bad.
He fucking sucks.
I
Name
don't know,
one
dude.
good movie with Keanu Reeves besides Bill and Ted.
But I
I
mean,
like Speed a lot.
so Keanu Reeves is
Okay.
supposed to be like
What?
the bad guy in this film.
No, what? What?
Did you just say that he was? Oh, okay.
He's the one that's being like seduced and like blackmailed, dude. Honestly, I think that if with a good director, much like I just think that if you have a good story and you have a good director who's directing Keanu Reeves, I think he can deliver a good performance. And I'm actually going to be the one who says that this is going to be a big movie and it's going to be really successful. So you guys who are naysayers, are going to be eating your
Well,
words.
okay. When you first described it, I thought you said by Keanu Reeves, but he's actually the one that's getting harassed. I think that's a little different because I can't really buy into Keanu Reeves being, bad
That's
ass,
casting.
like bad, yeah, totally. But him being bullied, yeah, I can totally picture that. I mean, he seems like the guy that would totally get bullied.
Unless, of course, it
mean,
fails, and then I'll be eating my words. But I don't know. I kind of have faith in this one, man.
I think you'll be eating your words on this one big time.
Okay,
I don't
see,
think I don't
see?
think it's going to be that. But I mean, I don't know. It's really, really hard to say. I mean, does Keanu Reeves sell it that much, or is Eli Roths selling the film?
It's why can't it be? Why can't it be both?
I don't know. I
Because
think there's a
Keanu
lot.
Reeves sucks.
I think a lot of people dislike Keanu Reeves, and I think him being in a horror film, I think is a
Oh, I
little
thought you
tough.
meant like selling it as being successful, not as like actually like
I mean,
selling emotion wise.
to be honest, I mean, when I hear the movie, if Eli Roth's name's attached to it, it piques my interest. And then the second I hear Keanu Reeves, I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
Like, I
I
can't
think
take.
we're going to see something different, man. I think
I
this is
can't
going to be
see
a case where like you're going to be surprised by the type of performance that's delivered.
Huh, that's weird. I cannot see Keanu Reeves playing in a horror film. That's just I can't wrap that around my mind. I usually see him as, the
Wasn't Constantine like a horror film? Wasn't he in
yeah,
that?
and it was a giant failure.
Wasn't he in Hardball?
Yeah, but that's like that was one yeah, that movie he's like overacting in that movie.
Dude, I love that movie.
I'm not saying it's not a poor movie. I just think that he's so overacts in that film. It's not even funny.
I don't know, man. I think people give him too much of a hard time sometimes. I don't really have a problem with him.
It's
I've
just,
seen way worse acting in bad horror films.
Oh, I'm not saying he's like that bad. I'm not saying he's like Bloody Homecoming bad, but
Then
it's
why?
like
But I mean, why can't we forgive him then? If we can forgive like some
I
crappy horror movie that we see
I
with
think
bad
it's just
acting.
more the fact.
I don't forgive Bloody Homecoming. So why the hell would I forgive Keanu Reeves for being shitty in a mainstream film? Name one Keanu Reeves film that has gotten somewhat good mainstream reviews.
I don't follow mainstream reviews, so I would never know that.
So name of fucking Keanu Reeves doesn't do independent films. He's only
I did that. I did. What are you talking? I said I don't follow mainstream
I
reviews.
know, but I'm saying
Reviews is the
okay.
key word.
Get the sand out of your vagina. God.
I don't. I'm fine, dude.
Okay.
I've always been so like there's something about Keanu Reeves that really bugs me. I just don't understand how he gets to be in such big mainstream films and like because he's not good. Like
He's not even good in The Matrix, and that's like a fucking fantastic.
I've never even
Like,
see
the
the
way he
thing. Also,
delivers-
I've only seen like 4 films that he's been in, like Constantine, Hardball, Speed, and like Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean Bill and Ted is right up his alley because
Yeah.
that just fits the way he acts perfectly.
I think he should have been like like a mid 30s actor, and he should have just left Hollywood when he was done.
Why, if he's making money? I don't see the
Why
argument
is it
there.
always about money though? People don't have any morals anymore, man.
more he's like doing what I don't understand, like what I don't understand. Why would he leave if he's being successful at it? It may not be like successful in like your eyes of how good he is, but if he's like, successful, why would he stop doing it?
Well, I guess the
Yeah.
frickin' there's so many horror parodies these days. I guess I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't have a huge beef with him, and I think this is going to be one of those cases where like you look at him and you're like, I don't see how he could really fit in this, but then you're going to see like Eli Roth pull this like this weird out of like normal type of performance from this guy. I I, I could be 100% wrong, but I just have this feeling about this one.
Mm.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I mean it's really really hard to judge what's going to happen with this, to be honest. But like I
Well,
said, at least he's
definitely.
not the bad. At least he's not the bad guy in the film. I think that would be so tragic. I just don't think it would ever
Who
work.
knows, dude? Maybe his mouth will be taped up like the whole time. You don't even know. Like you don't.
Yeah,
We don't. That's the thing. We don't know anything besides like a two-line description.
yeah, yeah. I guess so. It is true.
I just got a lot of faith in the type of darkness Eli Roth could bring to a premise like that.
Okay.
I mean, it is true.
All right. After that, Friday the 13th is becoming a TV series again.
Why are you saving this? Why aren't you saving this for last? It's
That
gonna
is the
have.
last.
This is really the last thing.
Yes.
Oh fuck! We're only 10 minutes into the show.
Um,
Well, this is probably gonna take like an hour or so. Ooh,
yeah, this is fucking. I'm
is it gonna be like the old TV show?
No,
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 I know
it's
it's
not.
not gonna be.
no,
Yeah.
no. This is actually based on the Voorhees family and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were kind of discussing this before, and I think a lot of people are excited for it, but at the same time, they're kind of like,
Mm.
is it going to be one of
It's
these
like,
things where
well,
we
what are they
know,
gonna do?
yeah, like,
That's the
are we going to
question.
learn too much about the family? But I don't know. I'm actually kind of intrigued by it, to be honest, that they're doing it
Honestly,
this way.
dude, I'm gonna go on record right now and say that this is gonna be awesome.
I'm really looking forward to how they do it. Like if they, you know,
I want to know what network it's gonna be on before I
That's
make my
also
decision.
true. That is a big
yeah,
like.
that was the first question I actually asked.
I,
Who's going to be playing this?
Honestly, at first I was kind of like, and then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, well, you look at stuff like Bates Motel, and from what I understand, there was I think Daniel Farrens, who's like a producer or something, came out and said after this was posted that they're going to have it set like in present day, but there will be flashbacks that throughout like episodes that is set when back when Jason was a kid, and that's going to kind of establish the backstory. And I guess it's not just when he's a kid, but about the family in general, the Voorhees family. So I see all these possibilities of really like because I've always thought would be interesting to explore the backstory of Mrs. Voorhees, but I don't want to in a film because I want to see I want to see Jason, honestly. But I always thought if there was some way to have both of those, that it would be really awesome. And because I find Mrs. Voorhees very like interesting, like what was her life like what was her husband like, what was her
Hmm.
pregnancy like, what was there's so much to explore with that character and all the characters that we don't know about, Jason's father possibly, and
Mm.
Jason when he's a kid,
That
and
topic is interesting because we've never heard anything about Jason's father.
except for in
So,
part 6 that
except for
and
part
it
6.
didn't
Yeah,
happen. It
yeah.
was like in the script, but it never happened. So yeah, we like never heard anything officially about him.
So are they going to do the whole season like this then? Is it going to be Jason as a kid and explore, about the mom and,
No, because
possibly the
that's
father?
only the flashbacks. It's set in present day with regular stuff like happening with people around Crystal Lake, and I guess Jason being a full grown adult. But then as like the story develops, I'm guessing they're going to have flashbacks. Well, they said they was gonna have flashbacks and explore Jason's, I think it was like kooky family or something.
Okay.
So that's the word they use. So honestly I
So
think this is like a good idea.
so there's actually going to be like cast members on like the show is going to be based, like shit happening around Crystal Lake. So there's going to be like a cast of regular people, and then it's going to be Jason
Yeah,
around
I
doing
think
his
I
thing.
think that's what it's gonna be
And
like.
then they're going to tell the Jason story through flashbacks and stuff. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I think that you can do a lot with that if you're gonna explore the Jason's childhood and his mother and his father and his family history and all that type of stuff through flashbacks. You could do that in a lot of different ways.
The only
Like
thing
there's a lot of
is,
room for yeah.
people want the same thing over and over and over and over again with, which I love all the Friday the 13th sequels, but every time that there's something new added to the mythology, I kind of get excited because it's like I can only see Jason go in and kill people and get killed at the end like so many times before it just becomes repetitive. I love those
Yeah.
films, like I said, but why not try something new? And it's not so removed that it makes it like a completely different thing. It's still, as long as they keep it in the same world and like kind of by the same rules and have a little bit of a freedom to explore the mythology and the story behind the character, I don't see what the problem is with it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally. I agree. I mean, as long as they don't have Jason body jumping in space, I
Yeah.
think this series might actually be pretty good. I really do like the idea of telling, like having like, your centered story, but then, exploring this whole thing through flashbacks. I think it can really work though. Instead of doing like a whole, if you set the show like, in the past and, Jason's like a little boy and then, they explore that for episodes and then kind of go to the present. I think doing the flashback thing is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, because you're not given the whole story at once to where it gets
Exactly.
watered down. It's like
Yeah.
keep it real mysterious and only show a
Yeah.
little bit at a time, little bit at
Well,
a time, and like
it's
each
it's
episode you'll like figure out something new and you'll be like, oh wow.
it's totally better for the viewers too because it keeps you going, like it keeps you basically on a cliffhanger all the time, from episode to episode. So I think that's kind of cool. One episode ends, you just want to see the next one, because they're giving you little bits and pieces at a time. I think that's really fresh. Actually, it's
I,
kind of cool.
I just think as a TV show structured right, I think that the Friday the 13th like story can work really well in that kind of like the Bates Motel does, but better.
Mm.
Because you can kill off characters in present day and still have like the
My
characters in past day like I don't know, it's just like it sounds really like it could be like very big and all kind of different things happening.
I really hope that the sets that they use or the location that they choose is like good. I
Yeah,
hope they don't.
that's important.
I hope that they don't really fancy up like this Camp Crystal Lake and make it like so new age and so present that it's like almost too good. It needs to have that kind of nostalgic feel, that older feel and stuff. I hope that they do the sets properly.
I
But
hope that they at least do the flashback stuff properly. Like I like that gets me excited to have like kind of a period piece along with
well, that
the
brings up a good
contemporary
point.
stuff.
That brings up a good point too, because a show with flashbacks and being set obviously in the past and Jason's story being 30 or whatever time they're gonna base this whole thing on, it's gonna be you know they're gonna have to have those sets, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a little pricey depending on how you do your flashbacks. But obviously, if you're showing Jason and his mother and maybe possibly his father and stuff like that, you're gonna have to have those costumes and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it kind of turns into a bigger budget.
Another thing I want to quickly mention is people are like saying, if it doesn't get on, Showtime or HBO or some channel like that where you're free to go about doing, things like nudity and stuff, that it's not going to work. But man, have you guys actually sat and like seen what they're doing on TV now? It may
Walking
not be
Dead.
full blown nudity and stuff, but dude, they have pretty, free a lot of freedom with the amount of violence and sexual subject matter and all that stuff that today
Mhm.
that it's nowhere near like
Especially on
as
something
tame
on
as
like
it used to be.
AMC. On like AMC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's certain
AMC,
there's
Bates
definitely
Motel
networks.
on
Yeah,
A&E, like I believe the first episode had a rape scene.
yeah. I would like to see this show possibly be on like a Showtime or something like that. I think that'd be great. Just
Yeah.
because I mean, just with that, I mean, being Showtime, maybe you have a little higher budget, but you could also do pretty much what you wanted, right? Like with AMC, you obviously can't. I mean, the level of violence, like you said, is there. They're doing a lot. They're even swearing on that show, which is interesting. but I mean, they're not saying anything crazy, but Showtime, you don't have any of those limitations,
Yeah, I mean,
and you can also show the required titties that you have to
well,
have in a Friday the 13th.
but
You
I
know,
would argue we was just talking about this the other day. Part six.
yeah,
Part six
yeah.
has no nudity, and people love part six.
It's interesting because it's like pretty much my second favorite movie in the franchise, and yeah, I don't know. That is so trippy.
It
That
really is when you think
it
about it. You're
is.
like, oh yeah. Also, part six feels like the most like movie like the most biggest to me.
It does because it takes place in there's such a broad, set to that film,
It's
right?
like
It's
the
like it's
whole
all over
town
the
of
place.
Crystal
Yeah,
Lake instead of the
yeah,
camp,
yeah. They definitely expanded the setting in that one
which
so
would be
much.
great for a TV show, like the town of Crystal Lake. Like, I man, I don't know. I think this could be really awesome, or it could not. But I'm gonna be optimistic all episode. This is gonna be really awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to be super optimistic about this also because I mean I'm a big fan of the film. So how could we not be excited? And like I'm not going to sit there and try and and shit on this. Fuck that. I'm going to
Hey,
go
it
and
could be
be
found
very
footage,
optimistic.
right?
Well, that's a very good point. So I'm going to be optimistic. I think this could totally work. Like you said, the level of TV is, TV shows is definitely the quality, I should say, better word. The quality of TV shows is really growing. You know,
I think if they would really get some strong writers behind it, which they do have the writers like announced, I believe one of them had something to do with the Terminator, Bill Basso, and the other one was Jordu Shell, who did Avatar, wrote for the script for Avatar or whatever. If they could like have references to like just imagine like maybe in the flashback scene or something that there's like since we know that Freddy and Jason happens in the future, maybe like some reference to Freddy or something. I just see all these like possibilities to make this show really cool. Who knows if they would ever do something like that? But what about the hockey mask? Like maybe in a flashback, like just a hockey mask like over in a corner of like a room or something. You just see it, like the significance of that hockey mask, but they don't do anything with it yet. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I just see all these cool things that
Well,
fans would go like nuts for.
that's an interesting idea. You show a flashback with a hockey mask, and Jason has this hockey mask as a kid and stuff, and and it kind of just relates to when he gets the mask in part three, and that's why he keeps the mask. When
Yeah.
he takes it from Shelley, and that's why he actually keeps the mask. And he doesn't change it up throughout the films because maybe he liked hockey. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
no, that's a really good point. Maybe
yeah,
maybe in a flashback scene, Jason's sitting there watching hockey.
yeah, and
Like
that's
there's so many different things you could do with it.
yeah, yeah.
And
It's
honestly, dude, let's go back to the old series, the old Friday the 13th TV series. Everybody was like, "Yeah, it sucks because there's no Jason." Now we have Jason in the Friday the 13th series. So
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
quit. Everybody who's bitching back then better be quiet.
To be honest, watching the Friday the 13th series back in the day was a little frustrating because you're like, where the hell is Jason?
Yeah, well, that's
But
because it's called Friday the 13th. But it
exactly,
is, if you take it as its own show, it's a really interesting concept.
yeah. The first couple seasons I thought were pretty good. The third season I thought was actually not that great of Friday the 13th because they actually changed, the main actor and stuff. But like the
Yeah.
stories and stuff were actually not that great. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
show completely did go downhill. But I do like the first two seasons. Like, I don't know. The premise is cool. Like we've talked
It
about the
is. It
premise of the
really
original
is.
series. It's actually a neat idea, but yeah, everyone's kind of thrown a little bit with no Jason. But you know, I think the series can possibly be pretty good, and I really hope that they announce who's going to be showing this
Yeah, I don't
soon.
know. Are they? I guess what are they going to make it and then like auction it to these different these
Most
different
likely,
you know.
yeah.
Uh,
But if you do it
let's
like
just.
that, you have to be careful who you shop it to too. Because I mean, say you make your show like you're going to be showing it on Showcase or on Showtime, right? And then AMC picks it up, and now you have to cut out things because you have tits and you have fucking
Well,
swearing and you have fucking, you
I
have
think they
things
would
that
probably do
AMC
a
can't
pilot
show.
first, right? They would probably
Yeah,
do a pilot
Well,
episode.
that's interesting because I
you still
remember
have you'd
I
have to
remember
be
watching
careful.
the pilot. Remember the back in the day they were gonna do a Munsters show and they did that one pilot and it failed so hard. So like
Like
Yeah,
back
yeah.
in the day, as in like
yeah,
recently.
like 2 years ago, I think it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, I do remember that. That wasn't. Yeah,
And it
was probably that
flops.
long
It
ago.
it flops.
Was that
So,
2 years ago?
yeah,
Or
it flops so hard that they never made
Remember
another episode.
Zombieland?
Yeah, but that was like an Amazon show though.
Yeah, but I mean, it was still a
Yeah.
flop.
Oh, it
did
was
they act?
a
Did they actually make a
they made a
a,
pilot.
a
Yeah.
pilot for Zombieland?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh fuck! I actually I remember hearing about that. I
Well,
didn't realize they actually made the pilot though.
yeah, yeah, it
That's
flopped bad, and also, they gave it out free. Like the pilot was free, and it
what?
still flopped. Yeah.
Holy shit! That's horrible.
Well, it's
Oh
like I
man.
could see why it could flop. It's like who the fuck's gonna go on Amazon to watch something? It just
I watch
seems
stuff on Amazon Prime.
yeah, it just seems inconvenient that to watch a TV show that's like exclusive to Amazon. Well,
I
I
don't
guess
know, man.
I
I
guess
think
House of
that's the
Look,
future.
I mean, look at House of Cards. It's such a huge hit. And it's like
On
such like a
that's Netflix, right?
yeah, but it's like it's on Netflix. So it's like I could
Well,
see what you're
Netflix is a
saying.
lot bigger than Amazon, like in terms of digital, streaming.
Hmm.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's another thing though. I mean, like Holliston, like that can end up on something like Netflix. I think that is like kind of the future. Like these TV shows are going to be like going to Amazon streaming and Netflix and all these other outlets besides just the TV channels.
Yeah, but that's fine. But as long as they keep putting out physical media of these series, though,
Hmm.
too.
Yeah.
If they're gonna go exclusive to fucking Netflix or Amazon and it never comes out on DVD, I'm just gonna fucking scream
You know what though?
because
I
that's
When
not
that
cool.
happened, like a few years ago, when stuff started becoming more digital copies and disc to digital and stuff, I did get nervous for a second, and now I'm not. It's going to be quite a long time before that happens. Exclusive digital stuff. So we still got time to, not panic.
I mean, especially within the horror community too. Like, a lot of horror fans, like we actually collect physical media, right? I
Yeah,
mean, we talked about this before. You don't go to fucking. I mean, I'm sure there is such thing as those comedy conventions and stuff. I don't even know if there really
probably
is.
probably
But
not.
it's not like you're going to a drama convention. Like what a fucking downbeat convention that would be. Could you
Yeah,
imagine? But
yeah,
like, you know
fuck
what I'm saying?
that.
Like a horror convention, it's so unique and it's so interesting, and that's where we buy all these limited things and these figures and stuff. Like you don't have a fucking figure of like Sling. You don't have a figure of Sling Blade in your fucking house. You know, you probably would have Chucky or Freddy or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have Billy
Yeah,
Bob Thornton figurine in your house. But yeah, that's where I don't really. It doesn't scare me because I think us collectors are going to keep it going, and that's why all these companies just keep showing up out of nowhere. All
one
these
more.
little smaller independent companies, and we
Yeah,
support it.
one more question I have about Friday the 13th. Well, actually, there's the whole idea. Is it going to tie into the movie that's coming up? Is it going to be after the movie? Because you would think that it wouldn't be done before the movie, right? Because the movie's like was announced way beforehand. So that's kind of confusing me a bit too. Now, are they going to take the whole movie and like surround it around this potential TV show? Like, you would think that they would have something to do with each other, correct?
Yeah, um I don't know. I don't know. I think it's kind of a 50-50 toss up here. I don't really know. Like, I mean, okay, just put it this way. If the TV show comes out, I mean, no, fuck that. You basically have to put the movie out first, don't you?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that the movie will be out first, considering this TV show is like just announced, and the movie already has a script, I believe.
Yeah, but who knows like when they actually start to, film this thing and go through
Well,
the process,
and
but
also the movie has a release date, which is 2015, March 13th, I believe.
mhm. Yeah, that's obviously got to be a Friday.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I mean, I guess they got to get their shit together though, pretty quick. March
Yeah,
13th, it's 10 months away kind of thing.
yeah,
Um, I don't know. I think you would have to definitely put the movie out first. So that if that's true, if my theory is true to make it work, then we're not going to see the TV series until probably just after.
yeah. A
I'd
couple
say they
months
would.
after,
I'd,
something like that. So
I'd say
you would think
up.
that if the movie's out, then it would have to be fresh in people's minds. Then they would have to have the TV show somehow be based around the idea, or at least some concepts,
I also think though that you don't have to relate it. I think even the fact that a new Friday film is coming out is probably going to do decent, and then dropping a TV series that's basically exploring what we just talked about, and and maybe in that specific way. I don't really think it needs to be connected, but
Well,
do
see, my thing is it needs to if you're doing both origins again. Like if the like how are
oh
you going to
yeah,
do a
totally.
found
Yeah.
footage Friday the 13th story with a completely different story and then like right after that do an origin story like with
Yeah.
I don't it'll
Unless
just be
unless the
weird.
script unless the script is just like I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna fucking do with the script. I guess it just remains to be seen.
Yeah, we're just
Right?
going to have to let the cards like land where,
Yeah.
like where they land. Um
If they're
and
not doing anything origin with this new movie, it's like some found footage, like it's kind of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they make a new film, but it's like supposed to be a sequel to like the original film.
I
So
think
maybe they
yeah,
make this new Friday film, and it's actually taking place after part four, and it's got Tommy, and it's like fucking who knows, like who knows what they're gonna fucking do, man.
speaking of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think a Texas Chainsaw Massacre TV show on like something like HBO or
Why does everything
Showtime
have to be turned into fucking TV shows now, man? Why can't
because it's working.
things just it's working. What has it fucking worked for so far movie wise besides the Bates Motel
Well,
and From
Hannibal
Dusk
is
to
getting
Dawn?
like some great feedback. I liked Bates Motel a lot, which is getting a lot of, push for. From Dusk Till Dawn is, picking up steam.
Okay, what else?
Well,
Well,
Friday the 13th, the TV series back in the day was pretty successful for a couple seasons. That Freddy's Nightmares did okay. Which
No,
other ones are there?
we're talking about now though. You're
I just told you
you're
three.
you're saying it's the future though.
I think it is.
Why can't
yeah,
things just stick to movies? Why the hell do they have to hop into TV?
I don't know.
I
It's
just
like
told you why.
it's like the old question though. It's like they don't have to, but they do it. But it's like, why do they have to remake everything? You know,
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. It's
it's
gonna
like
turn into the remakes instead of we're not gonna see remakes anymore. Everything's just gonna be made into a fucking TV show,
That's what I said
and it's
that
gonna
like a
become
couple
over.
shows
It's
ago.
gonna be oversaturated, and it's gonna turn into complete and utter shit. And
yeah,
then we're all gonna
but
be bitching about it.
this is the way media is though. Like
It's the way things go. It once one thing happens and it's successful, and the whole remake thing. Like I think as people, we gotta calm down on bitching about it a bit because we all go see them. We all of us go see them.
mhm.
Hmm,
So let's
I
But
chill.
don't,
that
I
but
don't know about that, but
that is completely true and untrue, because I still haven't seen the second Carrie remake, and I don't know. I
Well,
probably will.
that's because it's the Carrie remake, dude. If it was like,
yeah,
you
it's
know,
garbage. I saw it. There you go, JP's exact point.
I didn't go see it. I didn't go see the Carrie remake because I know that the Carrie remake's bad.
Yeah, it was pretty.
But no, the
It
whole
actually
idea.
it wasn't as bad as like the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, but it was pretty fucking bad.
What is the other TV show that's out right now?
Okay, but okay,
There's
getting back to this,
trying to think.
I'm completely fine. Like whatever. I do bitch about remakes and stuff and
Which
whatever.
I do too.
I'm guilty of going to see some remakes and stuff. Whatever it is, what it is. But at the same time, I'm totally fucking happy too. Like if they don't remake anything, either way, it's like I just don't really even give a shit anymore. I think that's what it's coming down to.
That's what
I
it's
mean,
coming down to. A
I
lot of
don't
people
really.
is they're just burnt out and they don't care to bitch
Yeah,
anymore about
that's
remakes. Me
that.
too.
It's totally what it is, man. But it's funny. I do get a kick. I will not lie. I always get a kick out of reading, films that are, in production for being remade but haven't been greenlit yet. Like that one fucking post that Zach did on the Facebook group, of all those potential remakes, and it had like
Yeah,
fucking
that's a fear net.
Motel, yeah, Motel Hell, and like some of those are just ridiculous. Like I don't understand why some of those films need to be.
Motel Hell I would think would be a failure
I don't see
because
most there's
who's gonna see that besides diehard horror fans like us?
yeah, I
Like
think
who
so
the
too.
fuck knows about Motel Hell besides us?
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, I
I,
guess to a lot of people, like some 14-year-old kid that goes to the theater and sees the film, he's just like, "Oh, Motel Hell, it's a new movie." He
if
doesn't know shit
Motel
about it,
Hell
so
did a like theatrical release, it would be a flop if it was a remake.
Yeah, Yeah, I think it would be a flop if it was just theatrical released. I cannot see them remaking Motel Hell and it gets a theatrical release.
Well,
No
that
way.
list
Yeah.
was
No.
not a list of stuff that is still in production. It's stuff that was considered to be remade and it once at one time was in production, but then got removed for whatever reason.
Hmm.
But back to the whole TV show thing, to wrap it up, I don't have a problem with it right now because honestly, the ones that I've seen, I've liked. I've liked the Bates Motel. I've liked From Dusk Till Dawn, and it's not a new thing. They did it, in the '80s. It's just now they have TV shows have evolved so much in since that time that it's a lot easier to make something a good show that due to budget and just the whole way TV works now is so much different. And the Scream show's coming up. Who knows what that'll be like? But what I was saying about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the only reason I think that that one could work is because I think that you have the family, the Leatherface family has like so many different members and you could really
Yeah,
explore like the
you could.
craziness of it
I
if it
actually agree
was
with that.
if it was
I
based about the family, not like we're following the bad guys, much like Dexter, like let's
hmm,
follow the family as they live in Texas and put it on like Showtime or HBO.
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I cannot see HBO picking up one of these shows. They're too high class now.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm sorry to say that.
Okay, so
Showtime,
getting
maybe.
getting back to the TV shows kind of working now and stuff is like you know the TV turning a horror film into a TV series is basically kind of like the new almost like reality TV. Remember like when fucking Survivor came out and it just spawned like thousands and thousands. It took off like
You know
wildfire.
why? Because
And that's what it's
Survivor
doing
was a
because
really, really good show.
yeah, okay.
I guess you like Survivor, JP.
Dude, I've been watching Survivor since 2001. I've never missed an episode. So yeah.
I'm like that with Big Brother, so
Yeah, I'm the same way, brother. But anyways, but yeah, that's kind of what it is, though. It's they're just taking this. It worked. It's been working,
It's
so they're just
working
gonna roll
right
with it.
now.
So they're gonna keep rolling with it, and that's why you see like this potential Scream series and like all these other
No,
ones coming
no,
out.
it's
But
not a potential Scream
yeah,
series.
yeah,
This
I
is
know.
this is real. This is happening. And I agree that yeah,
I
it's
meant
probably going
I
to get
meant the potential
oversaturated.
Scream series that might actually work.
Oh, okay.
Like who knows?
You know,
It's got
it
potential, but
it's probably going to get oversaturated and it's probably going to, get annoying after a while, but right
yeah,
now it's working and we're getting good stuff out of it. So let's keep it rolling and see what happens. And when that time comes where it gets oversaturated and boring, that's when we'll bitch about it.
yeah. I mean, there's certain films or the ideas that they have right now. I think some of them can work. You said the Hannibal film or the Hannibal TV series is getting really good reviews.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's got
that was
everybody I've
actually
talked
one.
to said it was good. Every single person. I've not talked
That's
to one person who said it was bad.
to be honest, that was the one TV series I thought was going to fail miserably.
Me too.
Yeah, because just taking the whole idea of what Hannibal is and shit. I was just like, how the fuck is this going to work? And who airs that show?
It's like
NBC.
NBC or
Oh,
no,
it's
NBC.
shit, really?
Yep.
Wow, man, what are they doing on there that's working
I
so
guess
well?
they're
Because
doing like there's like some cannibalism and obviously cannibalism, but
well,
I guess
yeah,
that's one of the reasons it's like doing well too is like it's kind of more graphic than you would expect.
Jesus, it's so crazy how TV, like major network TV, has come so far. I mean, back in the day, and All in the Family, you couldn't even have a toilet flushing. Now we're fucking eating people on TV.
I know, dude.
It's
Like
so crazy,
I don't
man.
know. All in the Family was pretty fucking racist. You guys all know my thoughts about All in the Family, but
I've actually
All in the
never seen
Family.
All in the Family.
All in the Family got away with things back then you could never get away with now, and
yep.
it works both ways. Like they couldn't do the sex thing, they couldn't, have toilet
I know
flush.
you laughed at my review when I said that the show's so fucking racist and it's so funny at the same time.
It is, and that's the thing. Like if you can laugh at the racist jokes, it's all in good fun. It's
It's like
not like
the Blockbuster episode is so racist. It's so funny though.
oh man, yeah, but like I've always had this conversation about shit like that. Stuff that they got away back in the day, you could never do now on TV. It's so crazy. But obviously, back in the '70s, we weren't eating people on TV. I think that's so crazy that NBC has a show where cannibalism is just accepted, and and you got like 13, 14-year-old kids just watching and going, yeah, they're talking about Hannibal at school the next day and shit. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Like when I was that age, you know what I was talking about? I was talking about fucking 90210 and shit, man. Like I
It's
mean, but like seriously though, I didn't have fucking cannibalistic TV shows in the early '90s, but I think
isn't
that's quite.
this crazy that this really is like the new remake though? Like the amount of like horror films that are being turned into horror franchises that are being turned into TV shows. It's just kind of like wow. Like if I was a kid and you told me like Friday the 13th, Jason is going to be on TV as in a TV series, like because I already knew about the other series, but it's kind of like I don't know. It's one of those cases where it's like people are kind of complaining about these and stuff, but it's like they haven't failed yet. So why are we so pushing against something that's succeeding? Like it's kind of bugging me a bit.
You know what? Since these things are actually starting to work and stuff, somebody should develop a Nightmare on Elm Street one.
No.
I'm just joking.
Because actually, we're not going to get Robert Englund.
Oh, totally. I'm just totally joking. But one thing that how miserable the Hellraiser series has turned into. Basically like the last 5 sequels have been pretty bad. Do you think that a Hellraiser series could possibly work if they did it?
I think it could only work on like late at night on like Showtime.
I think the Hellraiser series, would have to be really, really dark and just kind of take the idea from the first couple films and just roll with it. But I think it could possibly work. I think there's a lot of stuff you could do with the Hellraiser series.
Well, the thing about the whole idea of doing a TV show like based on a horror character is you have so much time to, get into the character. Like you don't have you have way more than 90 minutes, to explore everything there is about that character that we love. Yeah. It's like it's just more time with that character or those characters.
Totally. But yeah,
I'm down for this stuff, dude. Right now, at this point, I'm down for it.
Well, the thing is, though, the way I'm looking at it is that I'd probably rather see a Hellraiser TV series than another Hellraiser sequel.
Yeah, I would rather see a Hellraiser remake, to be honest.
I know
I'm probably
you're down
the only person in the world. That's the only. I'm not like pro remake, and I'm like everything should be remade. I don't think a lot of films should be remade. The only ones I think that should be remade are like bad movies with, decent ideas.
Oh, but you just called Hellraiser bad, didn't you? You just fucking said Hellraiser's bad.
I said I'm not going down.
Oh, dude, you're gonna catch so much fucking hate on that one.
Hellraiser is the exception. The reason Hellraiser needs remade is because how can it be worse than any of the sequels? That's exactly.
I knew this was going to turn into an hour discussion.
Hellraiser is like a film that I think, a story that I think today could work so well if done properly with practical effects. That's kind of the main thing. But Clive Barker is pitching that script, and why not have Clive Barker remake it? I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm totally down. Like I was actually thinking about this a couple days ago and kind of going through some ideas. And I think Hellraiser would totally be kick-ass. Clive Barker gets on board. I think that'd be a fucking great one to. But like I said, I'd just rather see the TV series than at first I was kind of getting I was getting kind of frustrated because it seemed like every fucking time I turned around, it was like another TV show was announced.
Yeah.
The Scream one is still making me laugh though. I'm like, I can't see a Scream series actually working. But then again, I also thought Hannibal wouldn't work either. So.
And From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, and From Dusk Till Dawn I thought was actually kind of a bad idea. But now that they're actually kind of working it out and stuff, why not Hellraiser? So I'm like, fuck it, do Hellraiser. Like I said, it's just more about making something more quality than making a really, really bad sequel to the franchise.
Dude, I mean, those sequels are so awful that
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I just don't want to see anything like that again. Like, fuck it, just stop the franchise. I mean, I know you're down for a remake. I'm not really.
Because it'll make it be theatrical again. You can't come back with another sequel and make it and revitalize the franchise through direct to DVD. Like a theatrical remake will. It's the only way.
There's no way. It's the only. That's the only way you could bring Hellraiser back into the theater. Only way.
I don't know, man. Like, I kind of disagree a little bit with, if you make a really good Hellraiser film, a sequel. I mean, it could work and it might not. Who knows? But I mean, if you look at it like this with the Child's Play series, I mean, most people are not fans of Seed of Chucky. And a lot of people don't even like Bride of Chucky. They figure the franchise went right to shit with part 4 and 5. But then you got fucking Curse of Chucky, which was a straight to DVD release, and it was kind of a big deal.
And I'll
People
tell you
It was a big
exactly
hit
why,
too.
though.
it was a
I'll
big hit.
tell
It was a
you
good
why
movie,
that
and
it
people
works.
people were just like, "Holy fuck!" The Chucky series is back. It's kind of a perfect example of how you
But
can possibly do that.
I'll tell you why it's different though, because with Curse of Chucky, you have one guy who did it, and he knows that what he did previously wasn't gelling well with the fans, so he made an effort to take it back. We're talking about Hellraiser, which not like one person like owns and can do that with. That's the difference. It's
Yeah.
because this guy realized like what he was doing was wrong and went back and fixed it. That's not going to happen with Hellraiser.
Well, why not though? Why can't you get someone that wants to make another Hellraiser film, and why not just make a fucking good one? Like
Like a
actually
good
put
sequel.
yeah, like I mean, or just kind of maybe the new sequel takes place after part 3 or something like that. Like just kind of who knows, but just something good. Like it doesn't have to be a remake, but just put
So what
some
do you
effort
call
into
it?
this. Well, I guess if they made another one, technically it'd be the 10th movie, but
So
I don't
what
know.
you're saying is so do you keep story elements from the other one, or is this like a spin-off, like its own story?
No, I think you keep the story going, from yeah, just set it right after part 3 or maybe even part 2. I don't know. Just keep it going from those. Because, like part 4, it kind of got, they kind of explored what was it? Yeah, it was like literally the family history and stuff, right?
But
And
part
bloodline.
3 is kind of its own story, like away from part 1 and 2 anyway. You
It
know what I
is,
mean?
yeah, true that, true that. That's why I was thinking maybe even after part 2 or something like that. It's been a long time since I've watched part 3 and 4. If I watch Hellraiser films, I generally only watch the first two.
I
Um,
think this is what you do with Hellraiser. You
Oh my
take
god, guys, we've been talking for 46 minutes already.
Isn't this the show? Isn't
I
that the
know,
point of
it's
the
like
this
show, to
is
talk
this
about
is what we
horror?
do.
it's like
This is exactly what we do,
this is
bro.
getting into Hellraiser now. We were talking about
So we
TV.
decided to talk about Hellraiser. It's
All
all right, dude.
right, go on.
So Hellraiser, you take and you do what you did with Leatherface Texas Chainsaw 3D. Leatherface Texas Chainsaw 3D is not a sequel. Like you can call it a sequel, it's kind of a sequel, but it's not a remake either, but it's its own story. It's besides like Leatherface's leg like limping is like the only connection to like the first film. So you do another story that's kind of the same story because Leatherface 3 is pretty much the same story as Leatherface 1. You do that with Hellraiser.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
And you
I
know
agree.
what?
I
That's a
agree.
remake. I just described a remake. That is a remake.
Not really.
It
Not
kind
really.
of is, dude.
No,
It kind
no,
of is though.
no.
It's just
If
not
you're
it's
taking a
just
general idea and then making it something, whatever. I mean, so you're saying that Texas 3D is a remake?
no, I'm saying Texas 3, not
Oh,
3D.
oh, Texas 3. Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Um,
Texas 3, Texas 4, both of those are kind of remakes, dude.
but the one, like I said though, with the Hellraiser, seriously, just fucking, you can do another quality film. You totally can, and just set it, maybe after the second one. Who knows? But I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't think that's gonna do well though, man. If you try to link them, like I personally, I'm not looking at just what I want. I'm
But
looking
that
at
was
like
the
what's
good
best
story.
for everybody.
But that was the good story, though. People really like what was going on in part 1 and 2. Why not continue it? Right?
How do you continue it though? Do you recast Kirsty? Do you recast Frank? Like, do you just bring those guys back? Are they willing to come back? There's so much, you know, things
Well,
to
dude,
think through.
I wasn't getting that far. I was more thinking about just the story. I wasn't thinking about cast and stuff. But you know what I'm fucking saying.
I know, but
Come on.
I'm thinking like realistically, like if we're gonna get another Hellraiser film, like what is the best thing to do? And I'm still stuck on like I think that you either do the spin off like its own unique story, but but that just kind of makes it feel like a remake too. I really don't know. Like I don't want to be the guy that's like, yeah, you should remake it, but at the same time, I honestly think that that's the best thing for the series.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just fucking leave it alone.
I don't want to though, man. I want to see another Pinhead movie.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why I mentioned the TV series. You know, like if if a sequel wouldn't, I mean, I don't want to see something I don't want to see Hellraiser 10. I don't want to. You know, so why not just fucking make a TV series out of it then?
Yeah, dude. Let us know what you guys think. What would the best thing to be to save the Hellraiser series? I'm saying remake. Moodz is saying TV series, which is probably the more popular answer. I think some
Well,
people say leave it
just put it
alone.
this way. I don't think it's gonna be very popular. People saying, "I want to see Hellraiser 10." I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
Jesus, dude, we're done with that. Like, fuck
yeah,
that fucking
it's just one of
franchise.
those things where, like, I think if you you cannot like continue with this directed DVD shit that was like
No,
the
no,
Revelations
you
movie. Like
totally
you
can't.
just can't do that anymore. And I blame, you know who I blame, dude? I blame the Weinstein Company with Dimension and those people. They kind of ruined that franchise by making it, Hellraiser 4 with such a bad production. People hated the whole working environment behind that film. Then they decide to take scripts that aren't even fucking Hellraiser scripts and sprinkling Pinhead around it. They destroyed that series,
Oh yeah.
and honestly, somebody else needs to get a hold of it because Dimension is. I get pissed off at the stuff, the choices that they've made. Even with the Halloween series and stuff.
Yeah, I know the Hellraiser. I don't understand what they were even trying to accomplish, which is like throwing in the Pinhead character into these scripts that weren't even fucking written as Hellraiser scripts. I just don't understand. Like that is just that's fucking
Doesn't
awful.
it kind of piss you off, dude?
It's so tragic, man. It's so tragic that they just, oh yeah, we're gonna make a couple bucks. I mean, they had to have lost money on those fucking movies, man. Even though they were so low budget.
No, dude, I think they didn't. That's the reason why they kept doing them is because
I
I remember
guess.
the video that was right at the end of like the video stores where like video stores were this wasn't Netflix time.
Yeah,
Yo,
you know what?
Netflix, you
Those things were
see
fucking
Pinhead
everywhere.
on
They
a
really were.
cover, dude, and I know I rented a couple of them in the video store. I seen Pinhead and I was like, sweet, new Pinhead movie. And every time I was like, man, that was so shitty.
Yeah, man. Oh, I remember watching Deader for the first time. I was like, oh god.
What was the first
Not
of
as bad
the
as Hellworld though, man.
Oh, Hellworld is so
It's the
bad.
worst one in the
Do you think
series.
Hellworld's really the worst?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
bad, man. It's
It's
so
bad.
bad.
Worse than Revelations?
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna have
Rev-
to. Mm.
Yeah,
Honestly, dude, I think Revelations is like better than a few of those bad other sequels.
Yeah, it's
I'm
The
gonna
better
have
than
reason
Hellworld.
I'm
because
gonna and the
Revelations
thing
is at least a Hellraiser story. Like the story is a Hellraiser story. Like it has like the old guy and the body, jumping, with skinless people and shit. Like it didn't have Pinhead, or at least the Pinhead we know, but at
Mhm.
least it had the Hellraiser story. You know what I heard other people say is take the stories from the comic books because those are Hellraiser stories and they're really good from what I understand and do those stories.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's the news, guys.
yeah. Well, that four pieces of news turned into well over an hour.
52 minutes.
Well,
Not bad.
at a certain point, I'm just gonna say that that was no longer news, and it was talks on TV series horror and Hellraiser remake.
But it does kind of make sense because that whole TV series thing is so big right now. Why not just discuss possibilities and the present, you know, the presence of it. You know, I think
Mhm.
it needs to be discussed. I still and you guys can mark my words on this. I think the Scream series is going to be a total failure.
Wes Craven is directing the pilot.
Yeah, the pilot, but so it gets picked up and then all of a sudden it bombs. So I don't know.
All right. All right. So that's an interesting news section. I told you the Friday the 13th talk, man. Even though we didn't have a lot of news, lots of great discussions. So let's hop into this week's question, which was your top 5 favorite full moon titles. Who's gonna
Yeah,
do the honor of reading?
I got him. Yeah, so the top five full moon films. Now I noticed a lot of people answered this question different. I guess I wasn't too specific in how I asked the question last week, but full moon releases. I mean, the way some people took it, it was breadful full moon films, and also films that they had just picked up and released, like Tourist Trap and stuff like that. But anything is fine. Whatever, you guys can make your list any way you want. So, um, anyways, first up here, Paul Henderson had Puppet Master 4 at number 5, Subspecies 2, Lurking Fear, Puppet Master 3, and Subspecies, the first one. So yeah, he's got 2 subspecies films.
I'm surprised. Puppet Master 4. Did he have 3 on there?
Puppet Master 3, yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. Puppet Master 4 to me, when I think the tagline was like when bad puppets turn good or something. I never liked that whole thing. Like I liked when they were bad. I didn't like when they became like the heroes of the movie. They kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Don's Bombs, he didn't have a top 5, but he just put the Puppet Master franchise.
Yeah.
So that's a top 10.
Some people aren't as into
Yeah.
Full Moon or haven't even been
Totally.
exposed to
Me.
it. Like, yeah, like Jeremy. Like, it's actually kind of surprised. Like, it's pretty.
The 5.
Like, I'm surprised that I got.
Yeah, the 5 films I put on my list are the only 5 full moon titles I've seen.
Shit.
Like, for example, I didn't have a whole lot of Full Moon titles in the video store when I was a kid. I only had like maybe like Puppet Master and Puppet Master 3, maybe like 2 other ones. So I actually didn't see a lot of the Full Moon stuff until like around before I got on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Critter Buster, his top 5. He's got Seed People. That's a good choice. Number 4 is Castle Freak. Number 3 is Puppet Master 4, which is showing up twice. That's interesting. Number 2 is The Dead Hate the Living, which I actually really like too. I like that movie. And number 1 is Demonic Toys. That's fucking gnarly.
His list is really solid except for that Puppet Master 4. Man, Puppet Master 4 and 5 to me, I don't really care for him too much.
Yeah. That franchise is like so hit and miss, right? I always find that there's like a good one and then a bad one and then a good one, and I don't know, it kind of goes back and forth. It's painful
for me,
to watch.
The first 3 are good,
Mm-hmm.
and then the 4th and 5th one are not, and then Curse of Puppet Master is good, and then they all suck after that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, movie collector 666 Zach, and he actually did. I'm gonna read out this. He said that it wasn't a typing error on Maniac Cop 2. He actually meant Maniac Cop 3.
Why?
I don't know.
Maniac Cop 2 is so much like they're like the
to...
same movie, except for Maniac Cop 2 is much better. Like that's how I describe them.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so number 6, because he always has a top 6 list. Number 6, Castle Freak. Number 5, Subspecies Bloodstone. Number 4 is Ginger Dead Man, the first one. Number 3 is Puppet Master 9. What the fuck? That just threw me for a fucking loop. I didn't even see the 9 on there.
To be honest, Puppet Master 9 wasn't like that bad.
No, it's actually not that bad. Number 2 is Ginger Dead Man 2, and number 1 is Tourist Trap. So there's an example of a film that Full Moon picked up and released. And you and your horror movies. Number 5 is Laser Blast. It's awesome. Number 4 is Seed People. Number 3 is Tourist Trap. Number 2 is Puppet Master 3, and number 1 is Intruder. Yeah, and that's another example of a film that they picked up and released. It's kind of a shame though, because Intruder was actually cut by Full Moon, or the release was cut. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. And then I know that do you happen to have Facebook up?
Yeah, I do. David's list.
Yeah, David's list, because I actually don't have it up.
Yeah, I have it. David has number 5 is the original Puppet Master. Number 4 is Trancers, which I've still never seen any of those.
Really? That's actually one that's on my list.
Number 3 is Dr. Modred. What? I never even heard of that.
Dr. Morbid?
Yeah, I think he might have misspelled it. That's why I was having trouble. Then number 2 is Castle Freak, and number 1 is The Pit and the Pendulum.
Interesting. Interesting. So our top 5 list. Jeremy, you want to go first?
Sure. Number 5, I have Trancers, which of course JP just said he hasn't seen any of them.
Is that good? Like, is that the only one you've seen?
Yeah, that's why it's on the bottom of my list because I didn't like it very much. There's like
Oh,
how many of them? There's like 5 of them, and there's like a lost one that they just found or something like that.
yeah, I think you're actually right.
Yeah. Number 4 is Arcade, which is a really shitty early CGI movie. It looks really bad.
I've always wanted to see that one. I
Oh,
think that
dude.
wasn't that on there. Was that on Full Moon or their other
Yeah.
Moonbeam label?
That was on Full Moon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Arcade is, oh man, Arcade is so bad, but it's so much fun.
Yeah, the
I
CGI
like-
is funny.
Yeah, it's like that mid 90s CGI. It's horrendous to watch, but it's a fun movie though. I like it.
That honestly, that makes me want to watch it. I love that mid '90s bad CGI arcade.
You know what,
setting.
JP? I think you'll really dig that movie, man.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to seek that one out.
Yeah.
Number 3 is actually Killjoy. I actually watched the first Killjoy.
And it's what? Wait a minute. You have Killjoy on you. What? It's like the worst movie I've ever seen, almost. Besides Beneath the Mississippi and.
You gotta
Santa's
remember, I've only
Thanks,
seen
Biz.
probably 4 other Full Moon titles and all the Puppet Master films.
Man,
Yeah, but man, dude, freaking the
fucking-
first Killjoy is just wow bad.
Maybe I should put it at number 5. Oh, maybe I have to move my list around. Whatever. Number 2, I have Puppet Master 3, which seems to be on everybody's list, and I have Intruder as number 1.
Alrighty.
What was you gonna say about Killjoy, Moodz?
Oh, I was gonna say Killjoy is one of the weirdest franchises because the movies progressively get better.
But honestly, isn't the first Killjoy like one of the worst movies you've ever seen? It has to be. It's so bad.
Dude, I've seen some really, really bad movies. Yeah, Killjoy is a bad film. I don't know. I've seen some pretty bad ones, but yeah, man, Killjoy 2 is definitely a step up. It's still not that great, but Killjoy 3 is really good. Actually, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, but
And
Killjoy 1 is. I'm being honest. Killjoy 1 is like in the top 5 worst films I've ever seen.
You know, this is just giving me idea for a fucking top 5 list, man. Your top 5 worst horror films you've ever seen in your life.
Ooh,
Let's
Could you
do it
imagine-
next week.
I guess everybody knows what's going to be my number 1.
I mean, it'd be interesting to hear people's lists of what their
Yeah,
worst
let's do
fucking
that.
horror films
That's
Yeah,
are.
that's
that
next,
should be next week.
week's top
Top
5.
5 worst horror movies that you have ever seen.
Ooh,
That's fucking hilarious, man.
I think
That's
people
actually
know a couple of mine already.
yep, same with me.
okay. We'll do that. All right.
Now, I want to talk about something that I asked on Facebook. Now, what are about these NATO movies? Now, I know Jason from Beyond the Realms just showed off a movie called Stone NATO. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I
It's
think
basically-
they're gonna go out of control with these.
It's basically about a tornado that throws stones up and kills people.
Isn't that a regular tornado?
Yeah, totally. Like, what the fuck? They just put a fancy spin on it. Called
the
it
next
Stone
one's
Tornado.
probably gonna be like,
Dude, this is kind of fun.
next-
What would you make in your tornado?
the next one will probably be like blank CD NATO.
Why does it got to be blank?
Okay, well let's finish off the top 5s here, and then we'll go into the
All right.
Okay.
NATOs. I'll go with mine here. Number 5 for me is Bad Channels. I love Bad Channels, man. It's because it takes place in a radio station and stuff, and I've done a lot of radio in my life, and I love the premise of that film. It's great. Number 4 is Evil Bong. I fucking love it. Number 3 is Puppet Master 3, of course. Number 2 is Demonic Toys, and number 1 is Subspecies Part 3. I love Subspecies 3. It's like one of my favorite vampire movies.
Not Vampire Lust. Is that what the name of it
I
is?
missed your first two. What were they? Number 5 and 4?
Number 5 was Bad Channels, and number 4 was Evil Bong.
Oh,
So
okay. Mine, number 5 was, I was kind of having trouble. I was going to pick Hideous, but I went with Castle Freak.
mhm.
Number 4, Killjoy Goes to Hell.
Yep.
Number 3 is Subspecies 2. Now, I could be wrong, and my favorite might be Subspecies 3. I did a marathon with all four, so there's like they run really big together, and I've only watched them all one time. So Subspecies 2 or 3 is my favorite. I can't remember. Then number 2 is Demonic Toys, which honestly is nearly my favorite. I think Demonic Toys, there's a lot of plot holes in it, but besides that, it's really, really solid.
Yeah, man.
And then number 1 is Puppet Master 3.
Nice. Yeah, I actually, when I was doing the top 5 list, I actually had Castle Freak in at number 5, and then I was looking at the list and I saw Bad Channels on there, and I was like, how the fuck did I forget about that one? I love Bad Channels. It's great. It was actually kind of it was not a hard list to make, but I own a ton of full moon movies, man. I was like going through the list going, holy shit, man. Like, I've seen a lot of full moon movies.
Yeah, I even thought about Head of the Family putting on that list because I like that one a lot too.
I was thinking Head of the Family too, and like really, like, Head of the Family is so much fun. Hideous is cool. There's so many fun films, man. Full Moon's put out a lot of really good stuff. I know W was talking about on the Facebook group about how he was getting kind of annoyed about how Full Moon just keeps putting out like excessive amounts of killer doll films. I never actually did reply to it because I just kind of forgot, but I was going to say that it doesn't bother me because I really love killer doll films.
I like Full Moon killer doll films.
Yeah, me too, man. Like, I absolutely love them. I think they could just keep making them, and I just would never get annoyed. I think they're great. So
I recommend you check out Demonic Toys, Jeremy. If you since you don't know really a lot of Full Moon titles, I think Demonic Toys is like the perfect one to give to somebody to be like, this is Full Moon. This is what's fun about Full Moon.
It totally does, man. It has all the Full Moon elements, man. That very awesome score that they always have and shit, and the dolls.
Yeah.
And it just has that feel to it. But Jeremy, it just came out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I know.
It's really cheap, dude. You can get it brand new for like dirt. I just picked it up, and I did watch the Blu-ray, and I have to say the transfer is actually really fucking good.
Yeah.
Demonic Toys 2 was such a disappointment. That movie's awful.
Oh, dude, Demonic Toys 2 with the really bad CGI.
Dude, I was so
bad.
I was like, this sucks. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is so fucking disappointing, man. I totally agree, man. Have you ever seen Doll Man before?
Yeah, I like Doll Man.
I kind of just thought of that right now, but I love Doll Man too. It's great. What did you think?
Doll Man's a fun one.
What did you think of Doll Man versus Demonic Toys then?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, so I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on that one. I personally think it's fun as hell, but it's a Full Moon movie. There's nothing that spectacular, but their mashup films are kind of interesting. Me and Jeremy watched Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong, and we're going, where's the verses? like what the fuck? They explain the history of the Ginger Dead Man, and they explain the history of Evil Bong, in the second half of the movie, and then the last 10 minutes is like in Bong World.
They should have did Ginger Dead Man versus Killjoy or something.
Yeah, why not, right? Fuck.
Killjoy 4 is pretty good. Isn't there another Killjoy on its way?
I believe that they are making it. I think that they were actually going to mash them up. Wasn't it Killjoy versus someone? For like serious though. I think they were actually going to do something like that.
We reported on it on the show.
I do remember something on that. Yeah. Yeah. So what else do I got for mood swings here? Oh yeah. I wanted to just do like a little quick thing on Mario Bava. I think April 25th. What is today? The 27th today? April 25th, 1980, which is like the 34 years since his passing. I mean, Mario Bava. I mean, I know I don't think you guys are overly that familiar with his films.
Never seen one Mario Bava film.
But man, he's seriously the master, man.
That's what I hear though. I've heard more good things about him than Fulci and Argento.
Yeah, Mario Bava is fucking amazing. Like I couldn't recommend films like Bay of Blood and Black Sunday and Black Sabbath, and the list goes on. Like, he's just got so many fantastic films. Like, I know JP, you're such a big anthology fan, and I think that you should check out Black Sabbath sometime. It's really good anthology film.
I need to.
But yeah, I mean, just definitely try to check out some Mario Bava films. But yeah, so anyways, it was like his 34th anniversary since his passing, but just such a legend, man. He was just fucking so amazing. Yeah, honestly, I could not find a lot of releases that were coming out this Tuesday. Do you guys know of anything that's coming out this Tuesday? I will report on Dead Shadows Scream
The
Factory release.
Devil's Due, I
Yeah.
think.
That's all I have,
out.
man. That's all I have. I have The Devil's Due coming out this Tuesday, which I really don't have any interest in seeing.
No.
But Dead Shadows, released by Scream Factory, is coming out this Tuesday. So everybody that loves Scream Factory, go out there and buy not one but 2 copies to support them, so we can get more.
I'm definitely
fucking
not buying
TV
2
tears,
copies.
so we can fucking get some more damn. No, I guess you got to go out there and buy the TV tears, man. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I think the
so
ship is
pissed.
sailed on the TV tears unless everybody tomorrow would just go buy TV tears and then message Scream Factory and be like, I bought these because I heard they weren't selling well.
Yeah, man. It really, really depresses me, man, because I love that release, man. And apparently I'm the only one that fucking bought it, so.
Yeah. To be honest, though, I have to confess, I actually don't even own that one yet. So you can blame me, Moodz.
You know
I'm
what,
sorry
man?
for ruining your TV tears.
Yeah, you fucking asshole. That sucks. But yeah, it's so disappointing. So disappointing. You can probably get it for like $10, dude. It's pretty cheap, I think.
I think one of the big things with that was when they released it kind of close to the 4-night marathon ones, and you're like, well, 4 movies, $7-8, or 2 movies, $10.
Yeah.
I think that was the issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the group page, people posted about Fright Rags having the Toxic Avenger shirts, the limited editions. Yeah,
I grabbed one.
Did you? Fuck,
Yeah.
I totally got to grab one too, man. I think I'm going to grab one.
I grabbed the version 1. I didn't grab the second version.
That's so cool. I totally need to grab one. I think
They're limited to 400, so I wouldn't wait too much longer if I were you.
I'm probably just going to maybe grab one even tomorrow. But yeah, I got to talk to my buddy Dylan because he even said that he wanted to get one. So let's grab 2 of them. Yeah, and what's the consensus on the Quiet Ones? Total shit fest.
Who went and seen it?
Oh fuck, dude! I watched Joe Call's fucking review on it, and I fucking laughed so hard in it, man. The first thing he says in the review, he says, "The Quiet Ones." He's like, what a joke that is. He goes, that movie was so damn loud with jump scares. The first fucking thing he says, he just tore it a new asshole. But
I love reading this review on Rotten Tomatoes. The Quiet One is rated PG-13, but it's scarier than R-rated gore fest like Proxy, Nurse 3D, and American Mary. Anyone could create disgust. Creating slowly building disquiet is entirely another proposition.
That's a real review?
Yep.
Oh, dude,
wow.
Wow.
How could you compare it to American Mary? Come on.
Yeah,
Quiet Ones is a fucking jump. It's a PG-13 jump fest. It's just, oh, come on, man. I mean, after listening to the review, I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what I thought it was going to be. What else do you do with a PG-13 film?
See, my
Jump
only
scares?
thing, I really like Caldwell's reviews, but I can never watch them because they're always new films, and I don't watch reviews on new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
but he does a fantastic job. I've been subscribed to him since day one that I got on YouTube, pretty much.
Yeah. The reason why I don't watch a lot of brand new reviews either, if I have any interest in watching the film.
Yeah, that's a different case.
I honestly don't have any ambition to watch the movie, so I thought I'd check out his review. I'm glad I did though. It was pretty funny. So, but yeah, I think that's actually going to do it for.
Wait.
My...
Jeremy wanted to talk about NATOs.
Oh, that's okay. All right. I got my.
Okay, really quickly, if you was making a NATO film, what would you put in your NATO?
Lava lamps.
That's a good one. I'm thinking cacti.
Yeah.
Cacti NATO or baby NATO.
But it has to be lava lamps that are already hot, so when they hit people, they fucking explode and burn everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you put in your NATO?
What the fuck? Shit, man. I don't know. I'd put in my tornado fucking
cacti. That's what I did.
Cacti is a good one. That's actually a really good one.
The quiet ones.
You know what actually would be interesting? Tornado that's filled with little fucking poisonous snakes. So they get
Oh, dude,
on
Snake NATO. That has to
Snake
happen.
NATO. Snake
Not
NATO.
even just little poisonous snakes, like all different kinds of snakes.
You got like huge fucking boas and shit
Yeah.
fucking flying everywhere. Oh man, that's just ridiculous. That would scare a lot of people, man, because a lot of people don't like snakes, man.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like tornadoes either.
Yeah, so that's a great combination. uh,
Or maybe a Sharkcano.
for fuck's sakes.
Lava
You know,
covered sharks, dude. It'd be
you know
like
the thing
Jeremy's
is,
lava lamp.
the thing is though, they're totally gonna they're gonna start making these films, man.
Oh yeah,
you know they're coming.
they are.
So
All right. So, hope you liked our discussion on your top 5 full moon questions. And remember, next week's question is the top 5 worst horror films you've ever seen. So that'll be a fun discussion for sure. I can't wait to see what you guys put. So, let's get into our pick of the weeks, or our what we watched and our pick of the weeks. I only got 2 because I'm a loser and I'm in school and end of the semester, so I haven't been able to watch that much. But I know JP probably has a few, and Moodz probably has 47. So, how many are we gonna do? Are we gonna do 2 each on the pick of the week, or 3 each on the pick?
I don't know. We'll just whatever.
yeah, we'll just roll with it.
All right. So go ahead, JP. You go first.
Okay, I go first. So I guess I'll just kill like 3 with one stone here because I went to the April Ghouls Day drive-in thing here in Pennsylvania, and they showed The Beast Within, Halloween, Phantasm, and Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. I kind of made a mistake, and me and my group of people showed up way too early, so we was there for about 9 hours by the time Phantasm was over, and we just was honestly exhausted sitting in a cramped car, and I could tell that everybody wasn't into it because I went with non-horror fans and really non-film fans in general, so I could tell everybody was kind of not having fun. So I offered that we could leave or whatever, and we didn't see Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, but I did see Halloween, The Beast Within, and Phantasm on 35 millimeter. And I got to say, I had, Halloween, 1978. Of course, it's a 10 out of 10. It was the 4th time I seen Halloween this year. I seen it on digital projection in October, and then I seen it twice on Blu-ray, and now this. And I was kind of, I wasn't into it as much as I probably would have been if I, hadn't seen it so many times already this year. The print was kind of orange-ish.
Yep. The print I saw was orange too, so it must have been the same print.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's Halloween. The Beast Within, however, I had a lot of fun with. It's really not a good movie per se. This was put out by Scream Factory. I believe Moodz talked about it a while ago. It's from 1982, and it's kind of the print was a little dark, so there was times where like there's a rape scene early on where I was like, wait, what's going on? I don't. Can you clarify if that's easy to see, Moodz?
Yeah, you can totally see it in the Blu-ray.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. Like
it is dark.
I was
though.
like, wait, that's a rape. Oh, Jesus!
It definitely is dark, but you can make out what's going on though, for sure.
Okay, there was one scene in this with a guy who was like making like hamburger or something, and it was fucking cracking me up, dude. Like I was like spitting beer through my nose. I don't know what it was, just something about this guy. It was really funny. He was like so into like just his character. Do you know the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Overall, The Beast Within was it's kind of a weird one, to be honest. Is it a werewolf or what is it?
Yeah, some people seem to think it is, but at the same time, it's like I don't exactly think that's what they were going for with it. I don't really want to,
because there's like
really
special effects.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't look like a werewolf, but it's like at a certain point I found it really funny, like what was going on with the special effects and the character and stuff. So the Beast Within I gave about a 6 out of 10. It was fun, but it's definitely not like a great movie in terms of like story.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously I seen Phantasm, which we covered, so I doubt you guys want me to get into it. But
How was the
wow,
print?
man, the print was actually pretty solid on Phantasm. I gotta say, like, it wasn't like obviously it's old looking, you know, it's not gonna be like a Blu-ray or anything. But I found just the sound and like the score and just seeing it on the big screen was way more of a fun experience than Halloween was, and that might have come from seeing Halloween so many times this year already. But Phantasm, like the scene with the spheres, like, you know, drilling into the guy's head, and the scene with the bug at the house, like there was just so I really really enjoyed watching Phantasm. That one was really cool.
Nice. That's good though.
The whole experience was fun, but it's probably not a good thing to go with people who are not horror fans, because their vibe I could kind of feel, and I was like, I felt bad that I drug them to this, and they were like uncomfortable, like in the seating, and just it was like, sorry guys. But
Well,
you
yeah.
know, there was some cool people there, man. Like I walked in and like there's like a vendor with a bunch of DVDs, so overpriced by the way. I didn't buy anything. They had a lot of cool titles, like all the cool shit, but it was like double and a half in price that they wanted for the shit.
Then you shouldn't go to Cinema Wasteland then. So, just saying.
And they also had, but I walked into the concession stand, you know, getting some cheese fries and stuff, and I hear two people sitting at a table talking about Bava, and I'm like, wow, you know, like I would never hear this in my real life.
Wow, real people. People like me. Yes, JP, there are people like you out there.
Yeah, it's so weird though because I don't know any personally. That's, you know, besides like you guys like on the internet and stuff, but like I've never met somebody in real, you know, physical life that is like, you know, talking about horror and like, you know, wearing that like Fright Rags t-shirts and shit like that. It was really cool, man. A lot of cool people there.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool. All right, who's gonna go
Um,
next?
I'll go. Yeah, first film I want to talk about tonight is um, a film from 2013. I believe it came out last year. And it's called the Expelled. Now, this thing is just this fucking blows my mind, man.
Oh, is that
Okay,
the one that had like the best slasher film from Bloody
yeah,
Disgust?
okay, dude. Fright Fest gives it 4 stars. Bloody Disgusting has a quote right on the cover that says one of the all-time best slasher films. Okay. So getting into the plot of this one,
So it's not one of the best slasher films then?
can you hear that in my voice?
Not even close, I'm guessing, huh?
So yeah, getting into the plot of this one, it centers around basically this high school teacher. He's not very well liked by his, you know, coworkers and stuff. His daughter is actually in one of his classes, and you know, his daughter doesn't really respect him that much either because he kind of has a drinking problem, and you know, so a lot of the other students don't really like him that much either because he caused some problems for some other students one time or another. So, you know, it's that typical thing. All the students hate the teacher, and he's having some marital problems with his wife. So there's a lot of things going on in this guy's life that are just you actually do feel bad for him. I do like the way the characters developed and stuff in the film. You do kind of really feel bad for him, and of course he's having these, you know, these things going on at school and stuff, and he's kind of paranoid because in the beginning of the film, what had happened was he got into it with a student a little bit, and the student had punched him in the face. Anyways, that particular student was actually basically, you know, kind of kicked out of school for a while and stuff, and then, you know, he was allowed back and whatnot. But you know, there's some tension there and shit. And but anyways, so one night they're there late. He actually gives his daughter detention for being, you know, she was just being an asshole. And so they're after school and whatnot and stuff. And like the setting is so bizarre in the school because it seems like it's really late at night, but you know, school ends at like 3 o'clock or whatever. But it seems like the whole movie's taking place at like 10, 11 at night. It's really fucking weird. Um, but anyways, so during her detention and stuff, some weird things start happening. You start seeing some people outside, like these hooded figures and stuff. Anyways, these hooded figures, which you would, I guess you'd assume that there's students that went to the school or whatnot or had a problem with them and stuff. They start harassing them, you know, doing some crazy shit to them and stuff. And yeah, so that's pretty much what the plot of your film is. Now, This one actually wasn't so bad until
Oh.
the end. Until the end, like it was actually not bad. Like I thought the acting was pretty good. It was kind of creepy. Like I said, the setting felt a little awkward because it felt like it was way too late at night. It was kind of off-settling. I'm like, why the fuck are they still at school like 12 o'clock at night? That's what it felt like. So I thought that was a little weird. But you never get to see, the kids' faces and stuff. They come into the school and they're wearing like black hoodies and stuff. You never get to see them. Um, and then they start getting punished by these people and shit like that. And then they kind of make their way outside after they finally escape this, brutal attack that they're getting. And they hop in the car and, I don't even really know how to say this, but the fucking movie just ends like in the middle of a scene. And you are literally fucking sitting there going, what the fuck? Like, it's so fucked up, dude. Like, this movie it actually has no ending to it. It feels like they just kind of ran out of money and just ended the fucking movie. It was kind of going pretty good until the end just happens. It just fucking ends. And you're like, that's very fucking weird. I haven't watched a movie like this in a long time where I was actually pretty much enjoying it until it fucking ends. And you're just like, okay. Yeah, I really don't recommend this at all. Like I said, if there was a different type of end to this film, it probably, maybe some explanation. This one really was like, it just seems like there's absolutely nothing there. There's no substance to it. It doesn't seem like there's a motive. There's no end. It just leaves you with way too many questions, and it's kind of bullshit. So I really don't recommend this. This is kind of a waste of time to watch this movie. It just leaves you with absolutely nothing. And it's only about just under 80 minutes, I want to say. So yeah, if I had to rate this, I'd give it like a 4 out of 10. Like I said, it's awkward too because the settings it doesn't feel right. The time doesn't feel right. But yeah, I give it a little bit of props. I really did like the teacher, the dad in this film. I thought you felt pretty shitty for him, which is good. They did a good job with that. But otherwise, the Expelled from 2013, stay clear of it. It's kind of a wasted watch.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I knew that quote was going to be bullshit.
Well, I just don't understand how someone like Bloody Disgusting can fucking put a quote on there. One of the best slasher films. Like, you know what? There was like some decent gore in the film and stuff, but the problem is, like I said,
What is the exact quote again?
The exact quote is one of the all-time best ... slasher films.
See, the whole thing with quotes, man.
I don't get that.
I'm so like, I don't know about them. Like sometimes I feel like it's more of a business thing than legit like feelings, and it's like I don't want to think that, but at the same time, it's like some of the quotes you read are just insanely wrong.
No, it just, I mean, there is some pretty decent slasher films out there that, by the end of the film, you're like, okay, the killer was killing because why? I always think of Final Exam. If you guys have ever seen Final Exam, like, there's no motive for the killings in the film, but at the same time, the movie's really entertaining and shit like that. But in this one, you really did want to find out what the fuck was going on, and maybe possibly have an ending to the movie. Like, it's just really awkward, man. Fuck. I was really looking forward to that movie, and I'm so disappointed, man. So disappointed. Sucks.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know why you would not be disappointed with a quote like that.
Well, I mean, I've seen some pretty bonehead quotes on movies that turned out to be pretty good, but like not as good as the quote saying. So it could have been one of those cases, but no, it's
it's not like Scream mixed with Prince of Darkness splash with Day of the Dead, because those quotes are the absolute worst.
They're so bad. Like every once in a while, you'll get someone's quote on a case or whatever that actually kind of makes sense. It's like,
it's like, wow, they nailed that.
It's like, if it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets fucking, something, you're like, yeah, kind of, So, but yeah, that's just stupid.
All right, my
Did you,
next.
Yep.
was that rating? Did you rate it?
I gave it 4 out of 10. Like I
Oh.
said, I gave it a little bit of props for, certain elements of the film, but fuck, it loses a lot in other parts.
All right, so the one movie I watched this week, besides my pick of the week, unfortunately, it's another Argento film. So after our spiel with
Which we didn't even get hate mail. I was so surprised.
Suspiria last week, I decided to go sit down and watch some more of these Argento films that I had, and I popped in his first film that he directed, which is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, and I gotta say this is definitely an interesting film. I would have to say there's a lot of interesting context in this movie.
Can I?
Go ahead.
What the hell is a plumage?
Moodz, do you know?
The plumage. I think plumage means like, kind of like. Oh,
Mr. English major.
Well, how do you put it? It's like plumage can be used in different words. Like the way I always use the word is that when someone has a really nice mullet and it's kind of like all fluffy in the back, I'm always like, yeah, man, this guy's got some really nice plumage to his hair.
Okay, so it's like it's not like a thing. It's like a. I get what you're saying. So
Yeah, yeah,
okay, I was always just wondering. I know that the titles really were kind of in that era. They used like a lot of like animals and weird shit that had nothing to do with the film really. That
yeah.
just sound cool. But I didn't even know what the hell that one meant. I was always curious when I heard that film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jeremy. Sorry.
All right. So basically, this film is about this killer in I think it's in somewhere in Europe. I'm pretty sure it's. I really wasn't paying attention, but
That's a funny.
I do that sometimes. I'll be like, where the hell is this?
yeah, I know it's in Europe because the film is about this character named Sam who is an American and he okay, it's in Rome. And he travels to Rome. He's a writer, and he travels to Rome because he's suffering from writer's block and he can't write, on shit. And he finally, I think he takes his vacation, to get a little break from writing. And on his way home one night after, packing up and leaving for America, he witnesses this woman getting attacked in this art museum, and the lighting in this is really fantastic. We got Sam looking on from the outside of this art gallery, looking in on this attack happening with this redhead lady and the killer who's dressed completely in black, and it kind of creates like a dreamlike feeling with this bright white light coming out of the art gallery. So Sam's witnessing this attack, and I guess the killer sees him, and he runs away. And Sam rushes into this art gallery to try to save this woman, and the supposed killer locks him into like this. I don't even know what it is. It's like a doorway, but like a little like doorway path with two sides of glass. It's hard to explain. You have to see it, but the film's basically him trying to find out who this murderer is, and more and more people are getting murdered.
This is like a giallo.
Yeah, it's like yeah. And
Is this is this one of the animal movie? Like, doesn't he have like a three animals trilogy or some shit?
Yeah,
This
the
is
first
one.
one.
This is the first. Okay.
Yeah, this one has to do with birds. But oh man.
You didn't like it?
No, I could see why people love these films so much. It's very stylized, and there's definitely a lot to say about the way Argento uses mise en scène, which is lighting, framing, use of props, costumes, stuff like that. He definitely has a way with mise en scène and using these type of things in his films, but story wise, I feel like this one was a little bit weak. It definitely felt like a Hitchcock film, and I know
The Italian Hitchcock.
doing my Argento project that he was highly influenced by Hitchcock, so I could see why he has these kind of these kind of aspects in the film. It's the first film he directed, so I have to give him a little bit of credit on that one. He wrote screenplays before. He actually started out writing Western screenplays, and I guess that wasn't good enough for him, so he decided to direct horror films. But it's more of a mystery film than a horror film, I think, in my opinion. Moods, do you agree with that, or do you think
it's the textbut meaning of giallo?
Yeah.
Right. It's just basically a murder mystery, is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you saying that story is kind of lacking. That's kind of the whole thing with Argento, right? Like it's style over substance with him.
Yeah.
That's like kind of what he's like known for.
Mm-hmm. But if you guys
I don't know, man. I don't know. Tenebrae is pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Even like on the story wise, yeah, it's pretty interesting, man. It's probably, it's a little bit later. It was after all those films. It was the early '80s, but
I think isn't that the one? I think that's the one that I've heard the most like positive things about this actual story.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I guess if you guys want an introduction to Argento, I guess everyone should start here because it's his first film and you get his type of style, and I definitely see later on, some influences in Suspiria. Suspiria is definitely a better film, wise, because Argento, was that his second film, Moods?
What, Suspiria?
Yeah.
No.
Or was it later?
That's much later.
All right.
Yeah.
So you could definitely see him between this
Progress.
film and Suspiria. You could see him progress as a director overall. It's all right. I know people are going to give me fucking hate again on this one, but I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. The ending's kind of predictable. It's kind of, you could probably guess who the killer is in the middle of the film, but it's okay. I'd say check it out.
I'm actually kind of really interested in like the whole murder mystery giallo things because they always kind of sounded like I might like them, but I've never been really sure because I've never really looked at many of them. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna start with Argento's first film and kind of work my way through that way. I'll probably get on that soon. I'll place a couple on order next week.
I'll after the show, JP, I'll tell you some good ones to watch and stuff that aren't even Argento's, but if you want to start with Argento, I have a ton of giallo films, man. I'm a really, really big fan of that style of film and stuff, but there's some really fucking good ones, dude. Really good ones.
I definitely need to get more.
You've watched Deep Red, right, Jeremy?
No, I haven't. I'm going to watch it for next week's show.
Deep Red is a lot of people consider it to be Argento's best film. I find that a lot of people that aren't the hugest fans of Suspiria generally seem to like Deep Red the most. I personally love Deep Red, but Suspiria is probably mine. But
it's so weird that you mentioned Argento this week again, because I actually, after last week, I went and looked at a Horror Hound issue that I had with it was like 26 or 27 or something, and there's a whole like long write-up on Argento in it, and they kind of go through his whole career, and I read about half of that article, and it really kind of made me interested to check out a lot of them, and it's weird that everybody's this whole thing is like coming full circle or whatever.
Yeah. Q.
All right. Well, I only have my pick
of
a 7 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I only have my pick of the week. So are you guys going to do 2 more or 1 more in pick of the week, or?
Could do like 2 more, I guess.
All right. So go ahead.
My turn?
Yep.
I watched a film called Crybaby Lane. I did a review for it on the Body Bags channel.
You almost said it.
Almost said the fright tube.
Yep.
There, I said it.
So
I love whenever you talk about the fright tube. It's like Baltimore. It's like he shall not be named.
Yeah.
The collaboration, our old collaboration channel. It's like you can't even say fright tube.
Yeah. So Crybaby Lane. This was I mainly checked this out simply because the history behind it. I was surfing the internet like I do from time to time. Just one thing leads you to the next, and before long I ran into this thing called Crybaby Lane from 2000. and it was a film that was in production. It was going to be a theatrical film with a solid budget behind it, but it ended up becoming a TV movie, and it was aired on Nickelodeon in 2000.
Oh, you should have said from the beginning this way. Where'd you find it?
YouTube.
Oh,
So
was it shitty quality?
I'll get to that in a second. It was so this film was released in 2000, and it aired one time and it was banned because parents complained about, the subject matter and it being a little too hardcore for, the Nickelodeon
Age.
target base, target children. So it was banned, and it was kind of forgotten and considered lost. Actually, a lot of people remembered it who seen it when it aired, and talked on forums and stuff, and like that it was considered a lost film until 2011, when enough fan talk actually got it re-aired on Teen Nick. And when it re-aired, people copied it and put it on YouTube, and that's how I seen it. The quality, there's two uploads. One of them, it seems to have like some frame rate issues, and then the second one is a little more poor quality. So pick your poison. It's not, it's easy enough to sit through. It's only like 70 minutes or so. It's not very good, to be honest. It's kind of one of those
So like, Are You Afraid of the Dark, but just longer?
okay, that's a good thing that you said that, because it's like Are You Afraid of the Dark, but not. It's like a bad episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark that's also a longer episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark. So it does feel like that. Just it's not a good episode, pretty much. It's about two brothers who have a friend who's like the local mortician or whatever, funeral runner, and he tells them a story about a Siamese twin from back in the day that was born to a farmer. One of the twin was bad and the other one was good. They died through complications, and he separated them at their death and buried the good twin in a cemetery, the local town cemetery, and the bad twin in a out in a field somewhere. So right away, I mean, it's kind of some like dark subject matter. It doesn't really show stuff, but like, for example, when they talk about separating the twins, it cuts to a barn with a hacksaw in it, and it there's some kind of like dark stuff towards the end. It's kind of creepy and maybe would be not suitable for that target audience, but overall I was like, man, I kind of think that Are You Afraid of the Dark was more dark than this at times, and didn't really see why it was banned so much. But yeah, it wasn't. It was kind of very average. I gave it a 5 out of 10. It's more about the history and the story behind it than the actual film.
Had a cool plot.
Yeah, and it has a cool story and history. It's really interesting to think like that this was a banned film that was considered lost and stuff. I was really into the whole.
How the fuck is Ren and Stimpy on the fucking, Rocko's Modern Life and Ren and Stimpy and all these shows that have dirty context, but this gets banned? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I recommend checking it out just for the experience and like kind of like looking back, like, oh, this is kind of a cool story. Maybe if it got like a DVD release and the quality was a little better, I might have enjoyed it a little bit more, because that's kind of an issue. But it did have like a cool story that just kind of didn't go where you wanted it to.
Cool.
Interesting.
All right, Mr. Moodz, you're up.
Alrighty. Next film I'm going to talk about is from 2012, and I remember when this movie first came out, it generated a lot of buzz. A lot of people were talking about this fucking movie. And yeah, that talk went away really quick though. And yeah, from 2012, and it's called Smiley.
Yeah.
Is this the first time you've seen this?
Yeah.
I figured you would have seen it like when
even when I picked it up, I was like, yeah, I had to pick it up because everybody was just bashing the shit out of this movie, and I was like, you know what, it just made me want to see it more, right? I was like, I have to see this for myself. But yeah, so the plot of this,
it's like Moodz is the guy that runs into the fire when people are like, oh, there's a fire in the barn.
Yeah,
he's like, let me check it out.
So it centers around your main character. I can't even remember what her name is right now, but she's just starting college. She's obviously a freshman, And she meets up with these friends and stuff, and they get talking about this legend of this Smiley character. And basically, what this person is that, when you're talking to someone on the internet, if you type in,
It's like a creepypasta.
yeah,
Which is actually where I heard of Crybaby Lane. Sorry, but that's where I actually heard of it.
Oh, really? Okay. So if you're talking to somebody, say on like chat roulette, they don't call it chat roulette on there or whatever, but if you're talking to someone online and you really believe that, you want them dead or whatever, if you type in, I did it for the Lutz 3 times, apparently the legend of Smiley, his character actually shows up behind you and kills you. Right. So, but you have to truly believe. Yeah. So you have to truly believe in the myth or the character of Smiley for this to actually happen. So basically one night, the lead character, the blonde girl, she's, chilling with her friend and whatnot. And they start, like, fuck, man. And she's kind of intrigued by this legend. And
as she would be.
And so her friend's like, well, let's try it out. Let's actually try this shit. So they get on there and she's like, but you have to really, really, truly believe that you want this guy dead. So they're on like chat roulette or whatever, and they're fucking, flipping through the things. They're like, okay, now that guy right there, I want that guy dead. Penises? Well, actually, there is. There actually is a penis in there.
That's what happens on chat roulette.
That's a guy jerking off. That's a guy jerking off. Yeah. Hey, look at it. Exactly. Hey, look at it. It's a little Jewish boy.
So actually, no doubt, man. They're flipping through and they're like, oh, that's a penis. They literally say that in the movie. But anyways, they don't end up killing that guy. So they find this dude, and then of course they type in, I did it for the Lutz 3 times, and then Smiley appears behind this guy and fucking cuts his throat and shit. And, and it happens a few times in the film and stuff like that. And she doesn't know what to believe. She doesn't believe if she's going fucking crazy because everyone else is just like kind of playing it off like it's not a big deal.
When's
and they're kind
of
It's bad, JP. It's bad.
It's bad. I mean, it's just okay, so that's basically the whole premise of the film. I mean, free from those moments, like she starts going fucking crazy and stuff, or she thinks she starts going crazy and stuff. All these things start happening, and there's all these bunch of characters stuff. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, it doesn't even sound that bad. The premise is whatever. It's totally like a new age type slasher myth. Urban legend.
God, this movie almost is as bad as Bloody Homecoming. It's fucking horrendous, man.
It's bad, and
I actually saw this in theaters, and I was fucking.
This had a theatrical release.
Yes,
yeah,
it did.
It's crazy.
I wanted to kill myself.
Okay, first of all, one of the biggest problems with this movie is that every character in this movie is a piece of shit.
Yep.
Everybody is so unlikable. Even the lead character. I think that she sucks too.
Now, do you mean unlikable as in they suck or they're bad people?
They're both. They're
JP,
bad people and they're fucking shitty characters. Like, honestly, dude, they're annoying. They're fucking
because they're very
YouTube
stars. Because there's YouTube stars in it. Fucking Shane Dawson, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
He's a YouTube star. He was fucking on YouTube first.
Cool Duder?
Not Cool Duder. Not Sean C. Phillip. Not Shane Dawson.
But the characters are so condescending, and like, there's a conversation where she's trying to have with these 3 guys, and the guys are just being total pricks. You're just like the dialogue. I honestly wanted to fucking rip my ears off my head, man. It was so fucking bad, and it's annoying too. The characters are annoying, and then what the whole outcome of the film and shit. I was like, are you fucking serious? I just sat through this shit for that, like, dude. Oh, I don't want to give anything away. If somebody out there actually wants to, torture themselves for how long was this piece of shit? 95 minutes.
Why the extra 5? Come on.
Go ahead.
Is the extra 5 really necessary?
Yeah, it's not necessary at all. But dude, seriously, it's just not a well fucking made movie, or it's not a good movie, man. Like, I don't even know if you had better characters and stuff, that if it would have saved anything, but it's the whole outcome that it's just a pile of shit.
I do remember when this came out, and there was like a bunch of hype for it, and then it was an instant bash like after that.
So bad.
It is bad. It's really, really bad. And like, I generally I went into this movie with a total open mind. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and find some good shit in this movie, because everybody was just ripping it a new fucking asshole. Dude, I couldn't find anything, man. Right off the bat, I didn't like the lead, and I was like, oh, this is brutal. And then when she's at the party and she's talking to all these guys and stuff, and they're being so condescending, they're being so sarcastic, and just the dialogue is so fucking, it's piss poor, man. It's so bad.
It's almost as bad as Bloody Homecoming.
But this whole like, I did it for the Lutz 3 times. Like, it's actually stupid. Like, are you fucking serious? And all of a sudden, this guy just appears. Like, the premise is, it doesn't sound that bad in theory, but it's like when you actually watch it, it's a disaster. It's awful, man. I don't really know what else to say. Like, if I had to rate this film, I don't even know what I would give this movie, to be honest. I'd probably give it maybe like a 3 out of 10. And the reason why I'll give it that is because I do kind of like the look of the killer, or like the Smiley character. Like, the mask is just, it's simple, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of,
yeah,
it's memorable. It's memorable for one thing.
it's something
Like,
different.
you do remember the killer, and but man, dude, like, this is something you actually have to see for yourself. It's to understand where I'm coming from with
It's
these characters
bad.
and stuff. It's really, really bad. Yeah.
Bad.
So I guess I think I'm actually just gonna 100% avoid this one.
No,
Sometimes
just
when I hear
watch
that,
it. You just have to
No.
watch it to see the bad.
Yeah, it was, honestly, I don't feel bad that I paid $1.50 for it, because it's like, who cares? It's $1.50, but I had to see that at least once, man. It's a total shit fest. It's just, it's bad, man.
I guess it's pretty bad, huh?
Yeah, oh my God.
Is back to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
One more and then pick of the week.
Okay, so the last one before my pick of the week is the Funhouse from 1981, I believe.
Yep, I did it in my 81 series.
Okay, so the Funhouse is a Tobe Hooper film, of course. Follows a couple of couples as they go to a carnival. They pretty much check everything out, check all the rides out, all the little attractions, and finally they stop at the Funhouse, and they're like, why don't we stay the night in it, as you would do it as a teenager in the 80s or whatever. They stay in there and they witness a murder, and that's pretty much where I'll leave the story off. So I actually did own the Funhouse as a kid on VHS. I remembered watching the beginning a couple times and never really got into it at all, which I'm watching it now, I'm like, why did I not like this? Because I actually really liked it. And maybe it was because I went in with those memories of being a kid as like, this is not going to be too good. But for some reason, I don't know what the hell was my problem back then, because it's a pretty solid watch.
It could have been that it takes a long time to get going too.
But
maybe you're just being impatient with it.
It is that. Probably that is what it was when I was a kid, and I'm more patient now, because it does take a long time to get going. But today, in today's time, me now, I liked all the stuff before it got going. Like, I liked the carnival setting and them going to this and that and all, because that's the thing. They're doing a lot of things. Like, they're going to this, and then you see them do the magic show, and then they go on the ride, and then like there's things happening. The fortune teller. I don't. Maybe as a kid, I found that boring.
What's the cool thing about that movie is that the characters they're really likable characters.
I was going to point that out as one of my positives, that I really actually really like the lead female.
Yeah, I actually think everyone is pretty. It's one of those ones where you're like, fuck. You don't really want anyone to get killed. You almost feel shitty.
And there's not a big group of characters to not get killed.
That's the thing. But even the fact that there is such little characters in the film, you do. Yeah. The way they develop the characters, like, you really kind of get to know them, and you do feel shitty. And I think that's what's really good about that movie.
And that's another one of my positives, is you do get to know them by experiencing all the different attractions at the carnival with them. And I was like, wow, like, it felt like it felt fun. I was like, oh, that magic show, this guy's like all kooky and all like, real into it and stuff. And, there's a few surprises where you think that something's going to happen. Like, for example, he asked for somebody out of the audience and you think it's going to be the main lead girl, but it ends up, then you're like, oh, it's going to be her friend. And then you're like, oh, wait, it's not even going to be her either. I was kind of like, wow, this is kind of a little different than the standard, way that normal scripts are wrote out.
Yeah.
And I like the probably the biggest knock on this film is the mask, which is not supposed to be a mask. It's supposed to be an actual face, but it's obviously a mask of our
quite
killer.
Obviously. Yeah, quite obviously.
Yeah, that's probably one of the worst things about the entire film. I was really surprised with it. I love the carnival setting. I love the carnival stuff before the movie starts, and surprisingly, the opening scene was like very like cool because it was like kind of like throwbacks to all these like Halloween and like Psycho and different movies and stuff.
Yeah.
The Funhouse was a fun time. A 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Yeah, honestly, I've always been a big fan of that. I know there's a lot of people that don't really care for that movie that much.
I was
And
honestly genuinely surprised. I went in expecting not to like it really, just from my past experiences as a kid, and I've had a lot of fun with it.
yeah. Yeah, I've always been a liker of that movie for some reason. It's probably a lot to do with the carnival setting. I think anything that takes place in the carnival, for the
Yeah.
most part, really does work.
And that's why I think I liked it so much right at the beginning. Jeremy, actually, your mic's muted if you're trying to talk.
Sorry, I was drinking water. I didn't want to be rude. One of my film professors wrote her thesis on freak shows and carnival settings and films, and it's a really fucking awesome, interesting read. I'll try and pull it
It's
up and put it.
underutilized.
Yeah.
Do you like the Funhouse, Jeremy?
Um. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not terrible. I think there's some better carnival films. I'll have to think about it, but it's definitely it's okay. Yeah, it's a
Like
fun.
Child's Play 3.
It's a fun slasher.
Yeah, it's a good time. I actually like the the kind of, it kind of does have that Texas Chainsaw feel to it also, like a lot of Toby's films, with the family aspect, like the carnival guy and his deformed son or whatever.
I've always kind of thought that about the film too.
hmm
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
the
a,
inside of the actual funhouse could have been a little bit cooler, but
it's just fun to sit down and watch something and not fucking overanalyze it. Like being in film school, you really start to watch movies and you start to overanalyze things. It's really starting to bother me lately that I've been doing it more and more. Like when I was talking about freaking Bird with a Crystal Plumage, you hear me fucking talk about mise en scène and shit like that. It's just being able to sit down and watch something for
Yeah.
entertainment factors. It's really enjoyable. And
Yeah, you know what? I know exactly where you're coming from, because now you find yourself critiquing every little fucking thing in a movie and
mhm.
stuff. See, when I
I've
was in sound school, when I was doing sound, when I was recording music and doing sound on films and stuff, it ruined it for me for so long, because I'd watch a movie and then I'd point out mistakes, like sounds that were missed in movies and the wrong sounds put on. Like, when you're watching a movie and like some people don't pick up on it, but when you hear like tires screeching on gravel,
hmm
it really fucking pisses me off. And like, and sounds that are completely missed or the wrong sounds. One thing that really annoys me is when they put the wrong gunshots
see,
on
I don't
guns.
know how
Yeah,
I don't know
gunshots
how that
actually annoy me
happens.
too.
I don't know how that
See,
happens. You make a product that people are gonna see. How the fuck do you have mistakes in it?
yeah,
That would
it's
just
just
like
because
drive me insane.
it's lazy fucking, sound artists and stuff. Like when they're putting the sounds in there and they're just like, oh, they don't take the time to look at the gun that's being used. So they just put this, oh, I'll use this handgun sound. But like some people know what those guns sound like.
hmm
Yeah,
And it's like, that's fucking wrong, man. Like I was like, that's wrong. And that, like I said, the most annoying thing ever in movies is car scenes when they're screeching their tires on gravel and there's other things that are going on. You're just like, oh fuck me, man. I did a commercial for Honda, and I've really focused on making sure that I had the right sounds for that brand of car, everything.
See,
And
you got a good you got a good degree being in sound. Like I've
yeah,
noticed in film school, that's like the number one thing people are looking for, like in film when you get out of school, is if you have a degree in sound, you're most likely going to get a job right away because it's always
yeah,
something people need. So if you
yeah,
guys want to get into film, do sound because you're definitely going to get a job.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's long, tedious work, man. It takes a lot of time. Like, you could spend 15 hours putting the sounds into like the first 3 minutes of a movie,
hmm
because everything is silent. You got to put in everything. And, there's certain things like the hardest thing to do sound for is footsteps. because you have to take everything into consideration, like what kind of shoes they're wearing, what kind of ground they're walking on. If you're in a hall, you need that sound. You have to
Yeah.
take everything into consideration, and it's also the timing of it too, and when not to put the sounds. And you don't want to put every single sound into there and clutter up the fucking the scene, right? So you have to kind of pick, and especially in a group setting, that Honda commercial I was talking about, the beginning scene in the commercial, there's about 150 people walking in a huge
Oh,
hall. Right, that's how it starts out, and then this car comes ripping through it, and I had to figure out how to put certain sounds into there, not to clutter it up, and have this car and pan it prop. It was a really really fucking hard commercial to do. 30-second commercial that I worked on for 2-3 weeks, kind of thing, right? Every day tweaking things, making it all. I actually did a really fucking good job on that, but.
hey, you got a gig. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and it was fun, but it's really really tedious and it's hard work, and I enjoyed it though. I mean,
Yep.
if you like looking at
Yeah.
a computer screen for 20 hours in a row, fuck, it's a job for you.
Yeah, I totally it sounds very tedious, but back to what Jeremy was saying about the whole, over critiquing things sometimes. I've noticed that since I've been on YouTube that I no longer watch films the same at all. I'm always looking at, what's up with this or why they do that or what. I never ever ever just sit down and watch something anymore, and it kind of is like annoying at times, but we kind of do it to ourselves. I mean, we have a podcast about reviewing movies, so I mean, it kind of we're doing it to ourselves. You just kind of have to get used to it, I guess. I don't know. I kind of miss the days where I just sit down and watch something and not really care about how it was done or whatever. But
Yeah, those days are way behind us now. All of us, we just, I mean, JP, you don't have the formal schooling, but you've watched enough movies and critiqued enough stuff that you might as well have, went to school too, right? So, it's just the little annoyances that me and Jeremy have been taught.
yeah,
It's kind of the shits, man. Like I said, for the longest time, I had a hard time with, even listening to music and stuff. I would notice fucking just audio issues and.
dude, that actually
Oh,
sounds
it
like the
pissed me off,
definition
man.
of like insanity or something. I think
It
like
really was.
the being like bothered by something like that would just feel insane.
Yeah,
Like I couldn't really picture it. It's kind of scary actually. It seems like
yeah,
it would ruin stuff.
exactly. Well, let's just hope the audio quality on this show is going to be pretty good this week, or else this whole
Yeah, I bet you that
conversation is-
really like annoyed you.
Well, actually, when David pointed it out, I actually went and listened. I hadn't listened to anything yet.
Because we
I
don't
was
really
like,
listen back too much, we like a little
well,
bit.
the last couple shows I haven't really listened to at all. I kind of scanned through them, but I didn't really. Well, actually, the last couple I didn't really listen to at all because I've been so busy. Like I've been just overwhelmed with all this stuff in my personal life, and so yeah. And these are long shows, man. Like if I'm gonna start listening to one, I'm gonna probably listen to the whole thing. So I need that couple hours, but.
All
But
right.
you know what I'm saying. So, yeah. So anyway, my turn. I'm up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for my final film that I watched this week, that wasn't an Aussie film. Yeah. So this one right here is. I know Jeremy has this movie. I don't think he's watched yet, but it's from 2012, and it's called The Bates Haunting.
No, I haven't watched it yet. Was it any good?
No.
Well, we'll get into this. So basically, the movie starts. Okay, and a little disclaimer here too. This has nothing to do with the Bates Hotel and stuff. It has nothing to do at all.
Oh, really?
Basically,
I actually thought it did.
I know that's what I thought too. This movie is it's about this family with the name Bates, and they have like a farm. They have they have a farm hotel kind of deal. But what it is that they have like a tourist attraction. It's for the city and tourists and stuff. It's called the Haunted Hayride, and they have like this big huge ride
Sounds like a badass concept, to be
on their
honest.
film.
Yeah, I was
and
just thinking
so
that.
they
All
have a
right,
hotel.
Haunted Hayride, I like this.
Yeah,
Like
so
what's
people
going.
can come and book and stay at the Bates Hotel because that's their last name. Yeah, and then do this haunted hayride and stuff. So, anyways, that's the concept of.
Oh, so that's how they get around of it. It's their
Yeah,
last
totally.
name.
It is their last name, yeah. So anyways, basically you got your lead character, Agnes. She
Agnes? What kind of fucking name is that?
I know, and she's actually pretty hot though too. It's infuriating.
Isn't that weird when there's like a really hot girl and her name's like, like Peggy or something?
But anyways, so at the beginning of the film gives you in the beginning of the film, she goes to this haunted hayride to go visit her friend. She's working for the haunted hayride ride. And basically what happens is that there's kind of an accident or whatever, and she ends up getting killed. And well, what they think is an accident, anyways. But anyway, she ends up getting killed, and it jumps to a year later, and Agnes, to deal with her grief and stuff, because this was the loss of her best friend, she actually decides that she's going to take a job at the Bates Motel, working for the haunted hayride she wanted to, kind of face her fears and stuff, because she was like terrified of this place after. So she wanted to like go there and face her fears. And, the locals and stuff, they're like, yeah, we can give you a job and stuff, face your fears, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so she takes a job there, and, it basically turns into a slasher film is what it is. There's certain workers and stuff like that, all of a sudden start having accidents and shit like that. And so that's, the general premise of your film there. I don't want to go any further into it. But this movie wasn't bad. Like, it's pretty average. The problem is that who the fucking killer is. Like, I mean, it's supposed to be a mystery.
So it's like it's a whodunit, but you already know whodunit.
Yeah.
So
basically, there is a subplot and stuff like this. One of the basically after her friend gets killed, one of the workers ends up going to jail, right? So one of the workers ends up going to jail he was convicted of it because I guess they kind of put him responsible. He was working on that machine or whatever. He was liable for the accident, so he went to jail, whatever. And right after she gets the job, he actually gets released from prison. So this is only like a year later. I never even thought of this when I was watching the movie, but so he goes to jail, spends like over a year in jail. Anyways, he gets out, and then that's when basically more of the workers and stuff start getting picked off one by one. So obviously everything is leaning towards the worker that went to jail. It's a very, common practice in slasher films. But the problem is, it's kind of done poorly. Like, for a fucking fact it's not him. If it is him, it'd just be the stupidest movie in the world. But I pretty much picked out who the killer was, halfway through the film, and I was like, totally right. It wasn't brilliant writing. I will say that the kills in the movie were decent. I will say it was all practical effects, which was nice to see. But they weren't overly crazy. Like, there was one pretty cool scene with like a hay fucking I don't even know what you call those machines. The machines that you cut fucking hay and shit with. I don't even know what the actual real name is of them. But there's like this couple totally going at it in the hay field and shit, and they get fucking sucked up into the machine and all hacked up and shit. But they don't really show a lot of it. So the kills are pretty modest in the film and kind of predictable and stuff. Basically you've got like this family, and the one guy that runs the whole show, his father owns the ride, and you got his son whose name is what the fuck's his name, something Bates or whatever. But there's actually one really funny part in this movie.
Jeremiah, is that his name? Jeremiah?
Yeah.
Do we go on the theme of fucked up names?
Yeah. So anyways, but there's this funny scene because he's kind of a really awkward character, and the very first person that she meets at this ride after she gets a job is Jeremiah. She's being introduced to the family and stuff, and he's being really creepy. And she says something on the lines of like, yeah, could you be any more creepy? And he's like, and he goes off to say that, or no, she goes something on the lines of, yeah, is your name Norman Bates? And he goes, no, I'm like the complete opposite of Norman Bates. You could probably just call me Normal Bates. And the way he delivers the line, I actually started laughing so fucking hard, dude. You have to kind of see it to get the joke, but the way he's very, very awkward and just weird. But it was pretty funny. And, but the problem is that it's a quick movie. It's a really fast movie. Like, it's under 80 minutes long. So they kind of get into it real quick, and I think they kind of not overwrote it, but I mean they underwrote parts because you figure it out right away. It's just kind of poorly executed, I guess, what I'm trying to say. But I will give them credit though. Practical effects, it wasn't overly bad. It's pretty average. I would give it just like a 5 out of 10 and stuff. So I mean, I would loosely recommend this. It's definitely worth the watch. It's nothing spectacular, but it's not fucking awful. It's not Smiley.
Definitely not Smiley.
It's not Smiley.
Nothing will ever be Smiley.
At least you really did like, the character of Agnes, and And
Agnes.
the guy that she hangs out with during the film, he's not her boyfriend. They're just like they're just like friends, but he's a guy, and he's actually kind of an interesting character. But I don't know, it's nothing spectacular. If you see it around for $1.50 at Family Video, pick it up.
All right, pick of the weeks. Am I going first?
Sure.
All right. My pick of the week is the 1956 horror sci-fi classic Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Nice.
I've actually never seen any of the versions, which is like
Oh
damn
man,
near
I should
blasphemy.
yeah, that is
It's
blasphemy.
criminal.
That is criminal. So this film, once again, could be thought about as a statement about the Cold War that was, or the Cold War, and you got, you know, communism invading America at the time that the film was released, But the film basically is about this little town in America, and one night this alien pod gets discovered, and they don't know what it is. It looks like this giant pea pod, and it basically, sucks. It's so hard to fucking see. I'm so bad at talking. I get so used to writing things now that when I'm fucking talking, it gets pretty bad. But
Just use like a brief IMDb description.
mhm. But these pea pods duplicate its victims and like rebirth them back into society. But they look exactly the same, but they act differently. They pretty much have no emotions anymore because they're pretty much aliens, and they have been called, pod peoples. So basically, this whole town is turning into the aliens, and these, the group of people that we follow in the film are trying to, survive and not end up getting changed into aliens. And that's about it. That's where the invasion, name comes from, because these aliens come and they invade the small town, which could be like the communists coming and invading America. It's definitely a classic. I know I've not seen any other versions. I know people, consider the first remake almost superior to the original.
Yeah, the 1978 film with Donald Sutherland is fucking fantastic, man.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's such a good movie, man. Yeah.
But it's more of a sci-fi film with some horror elements, but it definitely feels like an episode of Twilight Zone. It's really fucking good.
That's interesting you said that, because I always thought the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It does kind of feel like an extended version of a Twilight Zone episode. Totally. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. If you could pick up the Olive release, I would highly recommend it. It looks really, really solid. And
that was Olive who I didn't know that they released this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Comes with a nice slipcase. If you guys could pick it up, definitely do. It's a classic.
That Olive release is actually easier to grab too than some of the other ones.
Mm-hmm. It's a classic. It should really be in everyone's collection. So go pick it up.
Yeah, I'll probably definitely do that.
I know it's pretty cheap right now on Amazon, to be truly honest. I think it was like, we were talking about this, I think it's like $13 or something like that, so it's really cheap. Grab it if you do yourself a favor.
And while you're doing that, you might as well grab Olive's release at Tix also, because that's a fun one, man.
And I want to pick up Thinner as well.
Yeah, I do too. I have never seen Thinner.
It's on sale at Best Buy right now for $13, so
that's a good price for an Olive film.
That is.
I'm tempted. And Amazon is $15 with Prime, so
I have a few.
I might have to jump on that.
I have Tix and Night of Demons too.
Tom Holland directed it, so
I've got I think I got like 5 or 6 Olive releases. Like I got fucking a bunch of other ones. I don't have Thinner. I need to get that Invasion of the Body Snatchers release though.
Yeah, it looks really good. So I give that one like an 8.5 out of 10. It's definitely a classic. Everyone should have that in their collection.
Nice.
Definitely.
It's good. All right, JP, what's your pick of the week?
All right, as a little something different, I decided not to pick a movie this time, much like I did a couple weeks ago with Our Real Monsters. I picked a mini series. This is more documentary style than an actual like film miniseries. It is Bravo's The 100 Scariest Movie Moments.
Ooh,
Now,
this
this
is
is not on DVD.
this
It
is old
is
as fuck.
2005. No, 2000. Yeah, 2004.
I remember
Actually.
watching this on TV.
Okay, yeah, me too. And I wanted to revisit it. So I actually have a bootleg copies of it because, like I said, you can't get it on DVD, but you can watch it all 5 parts on Vimeo. So Vimeo.com, you can type in 100 scariest movie moments, and you can watch all 5 episodes. This is one of the cooler mainstream attempts at a top whatever list because it actually includes films that you would not expect on like a mainstream, television top 10 thing. There's stuff like Zombie and Demons, stuff the older gets recognized like Nosferatu and, The Stepfather, even some stuff like Willy Wonka, because it's not the scariest movies, it's the scariest movie moments. And for example,
Are you sure it's not top 100 scariest movies?
no, it's scariest movie moments.
And this was on Bravo?
Yeah.
I remember the top 100 scariest movies of all time.
Okay, but they basically they go through and they'll number 100, 28 days later, and then they'll have people like Eli Roth and Guillermo
Why?
del
No, wait,
Toro.
wait, hold back. Go back. Not number 100. 28 days later. What scene in 28 days later is the scariest horror moment? Are you sure that's not top 100 horror
Yeah, dude, it's
scariest
the
films?
moment where I mean it kind of is. You can look at it like that, but it's kind of they don't specifically say it's like this moment, but that's what the show's called, and it's the moment when I believe like they attack the house or whatever, and just it gets all
Okay,
balls
okay,
to the wall.
okay. All right. I
And
look up
then in
this.
Creep Show, it's the moment where the cockroaches, they're creeping up on you scene. So yeah, it's a really really cool look. From there's all kind of people, everybody: Bruce Campbell, John Carpenter, Wes Craven, Joe
Eli
Dante,
Roth.
Guillermo del Toro, Stuart Gordon, Gilbert fucking Gottfried, Lance Henriksen, Toby
Eli
Hooper. Just
Roth.
there's
Gilbert
so many.
Godfrey, that's awesome.
There's so many people. Courtney Cox, David
It's really well
Arquette.
done. It's really well done.
It actually is. It's actually one of the better documentary countdown things I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's
it's up
probably
there.
my favorite.
It's up there with the VH1 ones. It's really good.
Yeah, like the I love the '80s and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's films on here that you like wouldn't expect to see. Stuff that mainstream lists just ignore the hell out of. And actually, there was a couple sequels to these, like 30s scarier movie moments or something, and the Chiller Channel did a couple, and they were like mainstream boring, like The Grudge and stuff. It was just like silly. But this one recognizes, the like all horror, like from the old age to the Italian stuff. My final thoughts on the thing is you might not agree with the whole list and stuff, but when they talk about it, they point out like the specific reasons why these movies are awesome. And it's not necessarily about the order of the list. It's just really cool to hear people's opinions. All these different people that they got for this, their opinions on the films. It's really, really, really fun, and I really wish everybody would go check it out. It's a blast to sit through.
All right. So what rating do you give it?
I give it a 10 for the type of thing that it is. It couldn't really be
I think
that
that's
much better.
the first 10. That's the first 10 ever.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that it could be a little better is if they had other films that I would have liked to see on it. But that's not really a critique. That's just like I want more. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right,
Hmm.
Moodz, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is a film that was released by Synapse Films. It was released in 2009. I think this movie came out in 2006 or something like that. It's actually relatively newer. And it's called Header. I remember hearing about this one years ago, and I always wanted to check it out. It just kind of sounded interesting and stuff, but basically the premise of this film, it kind of has like two parallel storylines that come together. But the one half of the story is you basically have a government agent. He's like a EA agent. But he's crooked though. He's working for both sides. Like, he wants to be a good cop and investigate shit and do right, but at the same time, he's like working with like these drug dealers and stuff, and he's basically ripping them off, taking their money and shit. He's just being kind of a dirtbag cop. And he was from the big city originally. Now he's working like the small town and shit like that. So you got all that shit going on. He's dealing with these drug dealers and all that other bullshit. The other part of the story is you basically have like this really old, creepy fucking dude that lives out in these woods. He's got like no legs and shit. Anyways, one day his grandson gets out of jail and he seeks out his grandfather and stuff, and he meets up with them, and basically there's kind of like an old legend in this small city or the small town that to do with a header. A header is basically the ultimate revenge you can get on somebody. Like basically if you want to seek revenge against, it could be women, it could be men or whatever, but you give them a header. It's like the all-time worst fucking thing you could ever do to somebody, and like a revenge thing. And you got this old grandpa and shit. He's like a shoemaker and stuff. That's how he makes his money and stuff. And his grandson gets out of jail, and he's all fucked up too and shit like that. Anyways, he brings this girl back to their, I guess it's like almost like a shack in a way. It's really fucking bizarre. But anyways, he decides that he wants to get some revenge on this chick or something like that. Like, it doesn't even really make a lot of sense because he doesn't really even know this chick. So there's kind of like minor plot holes in this, but anyways, basically what you do, a header is basically you drill a hole into that person's head, like with a circular drill, and you put your dick into it and you fuck their head.
Nice.
You literally put your dick into their brain. Apparently it's the best feeling, fuck you could possibly have. So this is what this legend is, around this town is, these people would, when they wanted to, get revenge on someone, they would fuck their heads. And it was like the all-time worst thing you could ever do to somebody, and, so basically these stories come together because, the cop being all dirty and shit, he's doing his dirty ass shit and he starts investigating these crimes and stuff, because these bodies that they're killing, the crazy old man and the grandson, they keep dumping these bodies like in random places, and the cop catches wind and he starts investigating and tries to do his fucking job properly. Anyways, one thing leads to another, and he kind of figures out that it might be these guys doing it and stuff, and you go from there. Yeah, it's got some pretty nasty fucking parts in it, man. It's kind of on the extreme level. It's not like a full blown like extreme film, but dude, when they're drilling into these people's heads, man,
I gotta check this one out.
drill
Seems cool.
Oh, dude, he fucking puts his dick in the fucking head and like literally he just starts fucking it. But that's actually how they kind of catch, like they start to connect the cases, obviously, because there's a fucking random, or there's a major hole in the heads. But
I think this was a book first that got like turned into a movie.
It is actually.
It sounds a little ridiculous.
Edward Lee, yeah, it's actually a story. But yeah, so they start doing these investigations. Obviously, the first body that's dumped, they find semen in the head, and then there's another body, and then they find the same semen, but there's also a second. There's also a second type of semen in there too. So the grandpa was doing his thing on this one too and shit. And oh, dude, it's fucking outrageous, man. It's a lot of fun though, man. It's a lot of fun. It's just one of those ideas that like really headers. Like, you got to be fucking kidding me. But yeah, it's definitely not for everybody. I wouldn't say this is for everybody. If you want to watch something that's kind of different and really fucked up, check out Header. But the reason why this is my pick of the week,
and there is a sequel too, not in a movie, but in a book.
Oh, really? Nice. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. These were books. Yeah, the reason why this is my pick of the week this week is because I didn't want to bring up or talk about like a couple films I did in my Aussie series, but those obviously would have been my picks of the week. But I had to pick something that I didn't already talk about in my series. But this was definitely the best one I watched this week. I had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, it's not for everybody. If you can't see the I hate to say it, humor in it, because it's so ridiculous and over the top that it's kind of funny in a way, if that makes any fucking sense. Maybe I'm just sounding sick right now,
Mm-hmm.
It
but
sounds painful.
it is, man. It was like, dude, when they're drilling the head in the first victim, man, I was like, oh fuck.
I mean, not even that. I'm talking about for the people that's doing it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the thing. Like they totally said that putting your dick into someone's brain was like the best feeling fuck ever. I was
Dude,
like,
there's got to be like jagged like bone fragments and shit. Like
they
it
they
doesn't even
actually
like.
no, they even talk about that in the movie. That's why they use a circular drill, that it cuts a perfect hole in the head through the skull, and that's why the grandpa tells the
It's
grandpa.
actually kind of grossing me out right now. This is
Okay,
fucking nasty sounding.
seriously, they actually talk about this. The grandpa brings it up. He's like, you never use a hammer on the head. If you bash someone's skull in with a hammer, and you put your dick in there, you'll get fragments in there, and it'll cut your dick up.
Dude, that's
It-
ridiculous.
they
How
actually
does
talk
this
about
is
that
just
shit, man.
crazy, man.
It's fucking insane. Yeah. Once again, not for everybody. It's a Synapse release, so the transfer is going to be good. It sounds good. Everything. It's a good release.
I'm gonna read this book now.
But man, I was just fucking blown away by this, man. It was crazy. So, if I had to rate it, I'd give it, a solid like 7.5 out of 10. It's
Nice.
it's definitely worth the fucking, you know. I don't even remember what I ended up paying for this. Remember when I picked this up, Jeremy?
$7.99.
Yeah, it was like, holy shit, Header's in here. I was like, man, because I've been wanting to see this movie forever. So that was awesome.
Yep.
It's definitely worth it for Synapse. But that is my pick of the week.
All right, so hope you guys like Overtime. We're hitting the 2.5 hour mark. We're just getting into our conversation of Beneath, so hope you guys like a long show. So JP, you want to do the honors of telling the story of Beneath?
Oh, this one takes
Hopefully-
like 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't cut out during the 2 sentence description, but Beneath came out in the year 2013. It follows 6 high school seniors who are just graduated or just about to graduate. They are taking a trip out to a lake. They're going to cross the lake on a little rowboat to party on the other side. They got some beer and stuff. There's a couple girls and 4 guys. And on their way over, they decide to take a little swim in the lake. And basically, there is a man-eating fish that starts terrorizing them.
Yep.
So 6 people in a boat and a fish underneath them. It's a very, very simple story.
Yep.
So, what do you guys think?
I you know
The
let's
fish
start-
looks fucking ridiculous.
let's start with some positives here. Let's start with some positives. I thought the opening credits were really well done.
Yeah, I think that the opening shots of the film, with
Yeah.
I think the shots in the woods really is what I like to see when they are shooting in the woods. Is just the vastness and they look up at the trees, and I thought that was like one of the best shots in the film. I love the opening.
The only interesting thing about the openings, or not the interesting thing about the opening scene is that it's very subtle and kind of somber. Like when it's kind of panning over, and then all of a sudden the header comes in. The header.
Yeah, there you go again.
Shit, that's fucking funny. I didn't mean to say that. And then it says Beneath, and it just kind of comes in very somber. But don't you guys get the feeling right off the bat that this is just going to be a disaster?
It definitely is the worst killer film released by Scream Factory.
I
You
was
think
just like,
that what?
no,
You
no,
got
no,
a
not
feeling that
not no, that it's going to be a disaster for everybody in the film.
I
oh
thought
yeah, I
film-
got that
I thought
feeling.
the film
That's
was-
Right away,
somber
right
is a
from
good
the
word.
opening. Yeah, it was like right away I was like, oh man, this is going to be interesting.
Like you get that feeling like they don't even know what's ahead of them, like that
Yeah,
type
man.
of feeling. Yeah, I
Like,
totally
just-
agree. That's so
'cause-
weird that you pointed that out because I didn't like consciously think that. It was like a subconscious thing because I didn't really feel it until you pointed it out, and I was like, yeah, that's very
well, the way
true.
I look at it though, it's got that very kind of low key somber music playing, but like if you looked at it on the flip side and there was like some real like fast paced rock music and stuff, you're like, yeah, okay, let's go fucking party, and then you just kind of go off in a distance, right? This kind of sets the tone
I
really well.
like pointing that out, dude.
Yeah,
Good job.
yeah. So I thought it was a really interesting start to the film, and it was something I literally, yeah, it kind of caught my attention. So
Now, what do you think? Do you agree with my statement before you got into your?
Um, well, let's get to that.
All right.
Okay, so you have a bunch of characters. I can't remember all their names. I know two of them are brothers. You got Johnny and Kitty, and you've got what is her fucking name? The girl from Seventh Heaven is in the film, Mackenzie Rosman. Remember the little girl that was on the TV
Her
show
name's
Seventh Heaven?
Deb.
Deb, yeah.
Deb.
Yeah, and then you got her. So then you got two brothers, and you got
And
this
we meet
film.
a doomsayer early on, like a Crazy Ralph type,
Yeah, totally. Played by
which I like that. I like the little
uh,
doomsayer thing.
played by Mark
Mark Mangold. I
Margolis.
think his name's like Mr. Parks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, Mark Margolis. Yeah,
Yeah.
I always remember him from Scarface. I always think of him from Scarface. But yeah. So you got all these characters and stuff. Okay,
Johnny knows something. Johnny
Johnny
knows about the legend or something of this fish.
he does because well, he's even warned too. He's warned by Mr. Parks. He's like, you guys can't go over there. He's like, hey man, we're just gonna go across the lake and we're gonna go and party. And we're gonna come back. And he's like, don't let anyone in the water. Johnny does know, but there is one aspect of this film that's it's so weird to me. We'll get into it later, but okay, that initial conversation that Johnny and Kitty are having
Yeah,
just before they get into the boat,
yeah,
isn't that the most awkward conversation?
yeah.
Like,
And
I'm watching that conversation going, I felt awkward watching it. It was like a really weird, like, I don't know if it was meant to be that awkward.
no,
Like,
it was. It was definitely meant to be like that.
well,
It's supposed
maybe
to
not.
set up that Johnny isn't
Yeah.
isn't a it, like it, instead of it being like, okay, this is like Johnny, he's the good like dude who's sad that he can't get the hot girl that he really likes, and instead of it being like that, it was like this guy wasn't even gonna get the hot girl. Like he's just this like it was one of the cases where like it wasn't, she was gonna realize how that she was blinded, and she's gonna end up liking him. It's setting it up as like it actually is, he's real weird and awkward and he's never going to get that girl, and I like that.
And it does kind of set up the whole thing with Kitty and the brothers and stuff too. Kitty was kind of like she was basically kind of the Chevron pump, really, because you kind of get that feel with like she's kind of going through the brothers and stuff like that. And I don't know. It was a weird feeling with her character, man. It was really odd. I found throughout the whole film with her. It was weird.
So what did you like? What do you think of the film? Like Jeremy, obviously.
Yeah. What do I think of the film?
I thought it was the least quality film in the Chillers franchise that Scream Factory have released so far.
Okay, one thing about the movie I did like was the fact that, like, as goofy as the fish was, like, I don't even really know what that was supposed to be, but
Is it better than hypothermia? Is that the name of it?
Oh fuck yeah!
Wow, dude, I gotta say,
but honestly, I really did enjoy. I enjoyed looking at the fish at every aspect of it because it was practical and it
was practical.
I think they did a good job with the fish actually, but it was. I was trying to figure out the whole time what the hell kind of fish it was supposed to be.
I think it's like a catfish or something.
I don't know.
It's not any kind of fish. It's a fantasy fish. It's not a real thing.
I guess, but whatever. But I mean, but that's the thing. That's the other thing about the movie. It's got this huge ass fish in there. I don't know why it could be a fantasy. I mean, they don't say that. Oh yeah, this thing was caused by like some kind of crazy mutation. There's no explanation for anything. It's just this giant ass fish that lives in the water. So it's probably bred from something. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But I thought it was interesting looking. I will say that.
I'm like completely surprised.
I'm getting.
I don't know what Yin's like. What I thought the fish looked like amazing. Like there's a few points where you can see and it's kind of comes off a bit cheesy, but for the example, like when it swims away, when there's that big shot above the boat and you can see it like in the depths of the water and it swims away, I'm like, wow, that looked good. For not being CGI and stuff.
I didn't say it looked bad.
Yeah, I didn't say it looked bad either.
I love the fish, man. I just thought at first it was like, it was kind of. I think the reason why I thought it didn't look silly in the fact it looks is because I couldn't figure out what the fuck it was supposed to be.
I
You know
I, I,
that.
ca- I thought I heard somebody say it was goofy or something.
No, I just meant like, it was silly in the fact that I couldn't figure out what the hell it was supposed to be. But no, I thought it looked really good, and I actually was looking at the detail because I will mention that the Blu-ray looked fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it did. It really,
It
it
looked
really
really
did.
good. The detail in that fish was actually kind of crazy. Like I would
Yeah,
like there were scenes where it was right up next to the boat and I was looking at the exterior of it. It was really detailed, man. Like they put a lot of effort into that fucking fish.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
for like a low budget chiller film.
Oh fuck yeah, man. And I thought one of the most interesting aspects of the film though is when the one I think it's the dude or is it I actually can't remember who did it now, but when they stabbed the fish with the oar
Yeah.
and the oar is stuck in the fish the entire film.
I think it was Simon. It might
It
have
was
been Simon.
okay with Simon. Okay, but I just found that was kind of quirky because it just never comes out, and you always see the fish coming. It's always telling you when it's coming and stuff. I just thought that
Yeah, I like that.
it was kind of quirky,
It's
and
like
yeah,
Jaws with the barrels. Like that's
it
I thought
totally is.
exactly.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. Exactly. I was thinking this kind of like the Jaws with the yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, but I think we're kind of getting into the territory. I don't really want to.
I think that the first death was done so damn well.
Yeah, actually was surprising. I'll just leave it at that.
Surprising to say the least. I thought it was surprising, and not only like was the actual death surprising, but the whole leading up to the death was surprising. I thought it was just pulled off, perfectly. That first death like instantly made me like the movie. And I'll
Yeah.
be honest, guys, I really, really did like this movie. Like Jeremy says, it's like one of the worst. I really enjoyed it.
I'm not saying it was bad, but
Okay.
it's not as good as I found Chilling Visions to be more enjoyable, to be
Okay,
completely
I
honest.
do have okay, right up into okay, this is where the movie kind of goes a little sideways for me. Like okay, you said it perfectly. Right up into that point it was done pretty well. The death was surprising. I thought it was really well done. But right after that death, the decisions that the characters start making were fucking irritating me because honestly, that lake, you could tell, like, the way the movie is filmed, the lake is tiny. It's really tiny. At that point, they still have their oars, I think the decisions that they start making are so drastic. I don't want to give anything away, but, by saying the wrong thing and
Now,
stuff, but
okay,
I think there's certain decisions that I think that were just poor right away. Obviously, obviously, if they just kind of booked it to the shore, the movie would be done, right? So you have to
yeah,
have something there. But at the same time, it was like, let's create a diversion. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I'm like, okay,
okay,
that might work once, but when you keep trying to do it, and then all of a sudden it gets to the point where it's like fucking, I don't know, like Lord of the Flies, they start taking votes and shit, and like, okay, are you up next? Are you gonna do this? And I was like, what? I'm like, you
okay,
guys need to stop fucking talking this converse or doing or taking these votes and conversating and doing all the getting into all this personal shit and get the fuck out of there. Like seriously, man, it was like really like, dude, I actually felt the film nerds pain a little bit when they were totally like, hey, I was like, ah, fuck. Like it was
okay.
just
So my thing with that, there's two like main flaws of this film. One of
yeah,
them you said with the whole irrational actions of characters.
yeah.
It was a bit ridiculous, and also I think that one of the other things was if you are gonna like if these characters are gonna do that, then they would have never been hanging out in the first place. That's the issue. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? Like if you can't have characters act like this, but they can't be best friends. Like they're all friends. Like no best friends are going to be acting like this.
no,
So
totally.
that's the number of like one problems with the film. But I think you could have saw. I think the whole lake thing being small, and they had to create reasons for them to stay on the boat. I accepted a lot of that stuff, and I was like, yeah, I know that swim to the shore would be over and stuff. So I was willing to accept the whole delay of actions to begin with. They tried their best, getting rid of the oars and stuff, the paddling. Like there is issues with that, but I was willing to accept those. Now, I think that the way they should have done this with the kids turning against each other, they should have made it to where they was on that boat for maybe like 2 or 3 days. Like cut to 2 days later, they're starting to get dehydrated. Well, I think that's fresh water, right? So,
Yeah,
well,
it was fresh.
they're just been there for a long time. That's how you do it. I did think that a lot of the characters' motivations and things were absolutely insane and didn't make sense a lot of the times.
Oh, totally. I think
That
all
was
that
the only
internal,
issue
all
I had with the filming.
yeah, and but it was a big problem for me because the internal issues that everyone was kind of having, with the brothers, and then with fucking with the girl Kitty, and then basically all kind of coming around with the film geek basically saying that, like, he has proof of all this shit that's going on and stuff. I'm just like, oh my god.
See, but I think it was one of those cases where it's like I didn't like any of the characters. Like the
Yeah.
Johnny kid, I thought he was like a pussy. Like I didn't really care for him. I thought he was like annoying.
Well, the thing is with Johnny is that I don't think that he was a pussy. I think that he was actually legitimately scared for his friends because but the thing about Johnny is that it's so fucked up, man, because I was trying to be sympathetic with him. He's like, he when he talks to Mr. Parks in the beginning of the film, he's like, yeah, yeah, we're not going to go in the water. I won't let them go in the water. And then they get out there and they're on the lake for fucking 5 minutes. And then what do the brothers do? They strip down. Kitty strips down, and then he just lets them jump in the water. Like, what kind
See,
of fucking friend would know? He knows that there's something in there, but why wouldn't you be like, try a little harder, be like, hey guys, let's not get in the water.
all right. This is the thing here. You're missing. I don't think he knew for sure. I think he knew the legend, and it really scared him. But I don't think he'd seen this fish before.
No, no,
I
no,
just think
no. He knew that it was there 100% because he has that fucking protector
So what?
around his
Somebody
neck.
gave it to him. An elder Indian guy gave it to him.
And
Passed
totally,
down.
and I think the reason why he wore that is because he truly believed that there was something in there.
Yeah, but I
That's
don't
that.
think he knew though. I mean, imagine, just
That's why he
picture
was
it.
trying to give it to Kitty. He's like, if anyone's going to survive this, it's going to be her.
Yeah, because he believed it, but that doesn't necessarily mean he knew that it was there.
Oh, totally. But if he believed it, would you? Okay, put yourself in a
Would you
position.
put yourself in the real position though? Like you believe it, but
I
but
wouldn't
you've
let them
never
jump in
seen
the
it or
water.
anything. I
I wouldn't
would.
let
I
them
would be
jump.
like, I'm not gonna sound like a crazy idiot for saying that a fish is gonna eat these guys.
Well, you
Like
don't have
that's
to say
crazy.
that, though. But you don't have to say that though. You don't have to say that at all. You just be like, hey guys, like, no,
Jeremy,
like,
quit typing.
Sorry, sorry. I'm writing a email to my teacher. I'm sorry.
Um, yeah, so you totally don't have to say it, but I mean, you can look at it from
I do
both
agree
ways, really.
he should have tried a little harder, but I
He
also
didn't
think
say
that maybe
anything.
he was having a little bit like that internal doubt. I think that it might have been there. It's like, well, maybe there really isn't a fish here. He really looked shook and believed it, but in the back of your head, you might be thinking like maybe it's all a bunch of nonsense.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, you can kind of think what you want about the whole thing, really, because nothing has ever really, you're not really told. But um, yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's
See,
there's
the
just I will
the
say
thing is
I
though, back to the bad character thing,
yeah,
I think that the best character was the person to die first. And I found that to be very interesting. Like
yeah,
the
I was about to say
actual best person there. And this isn't a story about a fish killing people. It's about a bunch of terrible people stuck on a boat in a bad situation that
yeah,
do bad things to each other because they are terrible people.
yeah,
And I like that, but I just feel that it wasn't really stressed to make you feel that these people are genuinely like bad, and like it was still became irrational, the way they acted. Even if they are bad people, they needed to
yeah,
set it up more properly, and that's the
yeah,
main issue of the film, is just the character decisions.
totally, totally, and that's like I said, the biggest issue I had. There's so many elements of the film I really did like, but it was the decisions, and you can't ration. Like, I mean, it's
It
just
just
it
gets
wouldn't.
ridiculous at
It does. It
times.
gets it gets so ridiculous, and it's just so unbelievable, man. It's so unbelievable. But I gotta say though,
It was to
one
the
thing
point where I was thinking like maybe it's like all in somebody's head or something. Like
yeah,
I was like looking for some kind of explanation on why these people were acting like that.
I will give the screenwriter a little bit of credit for the way he structured his kills.
Unpredictable
and
as
who
hell.
dies
Everything in there
and who
was
dies and when they die and how they die. It's like, and who makes it to the end and who doesn't make it to the end, and how,
completely. You could not
like,
predict it.
and in the very end, like, with, like, I don't want to say anything, but like even that part, like, all this stuff is pretty unpredictable. We'll give it that. Like, I never thought in a million years it was going to end up, or those things were going to happen, and especially to one character, man. Like, I was just fucking. I was like,
I
what?
That's why I stressed so much about not giving anything away, because I think that's the one thing that holds this film,
Totally,
to being
totally.
like really awesome is
All right, sorry about that. See, we've had too long of a show, so the Skype recorder got pissed off. But anyway, back to the unpredictability of the film.
that's the main thing that makes the film, so and I actually do. It's enough for me. That is enough for me to really like this movie, was just how unpredictable and kind of pretty like awesome and like hardcore some of the kills are. Like I was kind of like really into that.
I don't want to say which one, but I don't even want to give that away. But there
I
was
know
one
which
kill
one you're
I
talking
thought.
about.
Well, I actually, the one I'm thinking of right now, I thought was really well done. But
Is
you just
what?
can't.
Just say the number. Like, was it the third kill?
I want to say,
The second kill?
I think it was actually the fourth one. I'm just trying to remember I don't know, third or fourth. But I thought it was pretty interestingly done. And I was expecting the movie to be maybe like a little more, like a little gorier, but there was some decent parts, like with
I thought the blood was done really, really well.
the
Somebody
blood
gets
looked
bit on
the
the
blood
arm,
looked good.
and I
The
thought the
blood looked
blood
good.
dripped out absolutely perfect. Like if you've ever
Yeah,
seen somebody with a really deep cut on their arm.
yeah. Well, especially where the cut was too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of dismemberment and stuff, but the movie's not like overly gory or anything, but I thought that was done pretty well.
I thought the legitimate fear of one of the characters when they were getting turned against, like it was kind of scary. I was like, man, dude, like being physically unable to match the people against you and knowing that
And
death
that's the reason
awaits
why
in
you're
the
getting
water.
and that's the reason why you're getting voted off. It's like, holy shit, that sucks dick, man. So, yeah, overall, like, I mean, like I said, that, like, the biggest issue I had, I think, is yours too, is just
Yeah, like the
the
brothers, for
irrational,
example.
decisions. Like, I mean, holy shit, dude, like, come on.
Brothers are not going to turn against each other absolutely no matter what, unless they're
Exactly.
set up as they actually hate each other, which obviously they don't if they're hanging out.
Yeah, I mean,
That blood
we
bond
know,
is not
yeah,
gonna waver.
I mean, the reason why they start to turn on each other is just so ridiculous.
It is. It really is.
Especially in that situation, because in that situation, you should be thinking about one thing only, is getting the fuck out of there, helping each other and surviving. Who cares about what may have happened or what didn't happen or what this person said or whatever? Who gives a shit? But you know,
Jeremy, so did you not like this one or what?
Is this the third chiller release Moodz put out by
Yeah,
Screen
Dead
Factory?
Souls, Chilling Visions, and then this.
Okay, this is definitely better than Dead Souls. I forgot about Dead Souls.
yeah, I like this more than Dead Souls too.
Yeah, but
I'm
I don't,
curious.
it's not as good as Chilling Visions in my opinion. I think
Yeah,
Chilling Visions had a really, really original concept and a really
Yeah,
interesting idea. But it's been done before, but it was really well done for the type of film that it was. It didn't go to the route of using, a really shitty CGI
and you got to
ish.
give them tons of props for that alone.
Yeah, like I said, it's not as bad as what I would assume is like it is in Hypothermia, like you were saying, how bad that monster looks
Oh my
like.
god, it's awful.
oh, it's fucking terrible.
So I give him credit for at least keeping with what the fans want and using practical effects instead of using CGI shit. And I guess you could like this film as well, JP, because it all takes place on a boat.
Yeah, that instant. But the problem with that is that the characters don't work for that. Like
Hmm.
they're not good with that setting. It just doesn't.
No, they're
It
awful.
actually kind of highlights why the characters are kind of poorly written. Some of
Mm.
them. I do think that some things I like the idea of them all being terrible people though. Like that works
Mm.
for me. Just they went overboard with it. And you know the fish itself, dude. I don't have a problem with not knowing like what kind of fish it is or anything.
No, that was just like a minor thing. Like I
Yeah.
just it's because like I mean, I lived like my whole life in lakes and stuff like that, right? Like, I do this all the time. I go to a lake and do exactly what they're doing, like every weekend kind of thing. And so like I've done my fair share of fishing and stuff, and I was like, what the hell is that?
Like a mutated catfish or something.
Yeah, it's weird.
But honestly, it was man, I think it looks like really, really good. Like there was actual points where I was like, there's no way that's practical. Like they had to do CGI there or something because
Mhm.
like how do you even make something like because it had like movement that was like actual like felt like a real animal the way it moved sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was definitely interesting. I mean, I gotta say though, like right away, like just the whole premise of the film and just just them being on this boat just instantly reminded me of Creep Show. You know,
The raft,
like
yeah, it
the
did.
raft.
And
It just instantly reminded me of that. I was like, this is
mhm.
kind of like, a full length raft with a fish. It's like I don't know, but it didn't harm it for me at all. Like I really, I did like it, but like I said, some of the decisions were just infuriating in this movie, man. Like I was watching with the wife tonight, and she's like, "Man, what the fuck?" She's like doing shit like that, right?
Yeah, I
I'm
think one
like,
of the
I
main
know.
things is you have to like realize that and it doesn't help too much, but I think it does help a bit when you realize like these are just all terrible people and they're supposed to be.
Mhm. But like in a moment of, you know, if you're stuck in a situation like that, you're probably just gonna maybe kind of forget about that kind of petty shit and just, okay, maybe let's try and work as a team and get out of here. But
I
maybe
mean,
them
it's
seeing
it's the
Yeah,
like
it's not.
same.
It's not like they. It's not like Frozen. Frozen did
It
it so much better and
yeah.
so much more effectively, even though
The
it's a different kind of concept. But
yeah.
If you look at Billy Loomis and Randy from Scream, imagine if all of these people on the boat were those people. That's kind of what it is like. It's they're all bad people that will do anything in life to get ahead, and they don't care about anybody but themselves.
Hmm.
And they're like batshit crazy.
Okay, so did you guys like the way the movie ended?
Yeah, I did.
yeah, I thought it
Like,
was pretty interesting.
I thought it was appropriate.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did
Like,
too.
I thought it was very appropriate and it just worked. And I was like, oh, okay, I like that.
Yeah, I actually really liked how it ended, and you know, even with those problems, I got to say, I'm probably going to be coming in the highest on this one. I think it's one of the best fish movies that I've seen. Obviously besides Jaws and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe fish movies. Like,
There's
I,
a
I,
lot,
I,
dude.
I
There's
just
a
always
lot of
when I
fish
think of
movies.
water, when I think of
for a
water,
TV film, it's really good.
it is actually pretty impressive for made for TV because this is the type of movie that you would totally think that was going to have the worst CGI'd
Yep,
fish ever.
yep.
It's just it really is truly amazing what they did with this. And fuck, dude, Jeremy, you have the DVD, right?
Yeah, I got it at
Okay.
Family Video, so
Damn, this fucking Blu-ray, man. Holy, it looks so good.
yeah.
Like I
I
said,
actually mentioned that. I was like, wow, this Blu-ray looks great when I was watching it to you guys.
yeah, it's fucking really good, man. I was really
Oh,
impressed.
Moods, I forgot. I when you were talking about DVD releases, Salem's Lot comes out tomorrow. It's getting re-released on Tuesday.
Oh
Really?
yeah. You
Yep.
know what? That's right. I actually forgot to write that down. I even knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
I just remember that
How
now.
did that go under the radar for so long?
Yep.
I
It's
don't know.
getting released Tuesday.
Yeah, that's good for people that don't have. So it most likely won't be in a snapper case.
Nope.
Why the fuck don't they put that shit on Blu-ray?
They must have
Jesus.
found like a stockpile of them and like, oh, let's re-release it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
nice.
don't know why they wouldn't put it on Blu-ray by now. So yeah, I mean, Beneath to me, it's all of those like because like you mentioned Lord of the Flies. It is Lord of the Flies on a boat. Like it's supposed to be these characters turning against each other. There's even a
Yeah,
tagline that says, when it says something about that.
dude,
The only problem is they took it too far and it gets over the top.
I literally wrote down. I made up a fucking tag. It's like the Raft meets Lord of the Flies. You know, if you wanted to describe the movie, it's like Lord of the Flies and The Raft combined kind of thing. It's just kind of essentially what it is, you know. But
Fangoria gave it a 3 out of 4.
Hmm.
it's
They're
interesting.
only friends on the surface. That's a really good tagline. They're only friends on the surface. That's the tagline I was talking about.
Yeah, that is a good one. Oh yeah, totally.
All right, let's give our final ratings on this one. JP, go ahead.
Now you guys go first.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 7.25 out of 10.
Way higher than I thought you was coming in.
Yeah, that's actually way harder than I thought you were gonna give it to. That's interesting. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give it a 7 because I really did respect the fish.
Yep,
You got to respect
that's
the
why I
fish.
gave
You
it a
got to respect the
7.25.
unpredictability of it and the kills. I
Yep.
think those 3 things
Yeah.
make it worth
Yep.
watching
Yep.
alone.
That's
But
why I gave it the rating.
Totally, man. The structure of the kills, though, too.
Yeah,
Or
that's
like
what I mean. Kills
like
in general is
holy fuck.
like how they're pulled off. Like they're really unpredictable and not just like a fish eating somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is good though. Yeah.
So yeah, my rating is actually 7.5. So I thought it was going to come in way higher. I thought you guys were going to go like more around the 5 range, but
No, it's not that
yeah,
bad.
so,
No.
I mean, we would all recommend it then.
Yeah, totally. All right, so thanks everybody again for listening to the 16th episode, the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to follow me on my YouTube channel, you can do so at youtube.com/nesroad22. You can also now find me over at thedevilseye.com. I will be writing Blu-ray reviews over there. My first review is up right now of Would You Rather. Guys, please go over there and let me know what you think.
Definitely support thedevilseyes.com.
Definitely support the Devil Eyes.
Including Jeremy's reviews.
Yep, I should be posting a review on ATM one day next week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I should have that up there. So if you guys want to go and read my writing that I often talk about a lot in the podcast with me going to film school and stuff like that, you could go over there and read some of my more fun writing. It's definitely a lot more fun than writing an analytical essay that I've been just doing so much lately. Like I just wrote an 8-page paper on spring breakers, and I really just wanted to shoot myself. So it's actually really fun to write stuff that I enjoy and not about stupid shit. So if you guys want to go over there and read some of that stuff, let me know what you think. That would mean a lot. So if you want to follow JP on his channel, you could do so at youtube.com/doubleshotj, and he still hates Pee Wee Herman. And if you want to follow the man Moodz himself, you can do so at youtube.com/Moodz616 or click the subscribe button right down below. Of course, you can view us on thedevileyes.com.
And just a quick reminder too. The question
I was
is
going to say that.
your personal top 5 worst horror films you've ever seen. So not in general what you think they
If
are. Just the
anybody
ones that
puts Texas Chainsaw 3D on their list, you instantly lose all credit with me. Just saying. I'm tired of people saying that's the worst movie ever made.
No, it's definitely not that.
you know that's going to show up at least once.
Better not. I'm telling you right now. We will not be friends anymore. I'm telling you.
I'm totally going to put it on my list just because.
All right.
Podcast is done after the next week.
So what's next week's film?
Torture Chamber.
Torture Chamber. Nice.
Yeah, Dante's Tomaselli's brand new film, Torture Chamber. Fuck yeah.
Nice. I know Moodz loves that film. So stay tuned next week for that review and our usual show. So thanks again, everybody, for listening. I hope everyone has a good week, and we should talk to you guys again next week with the 17th episode of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy your week.
Peace.